Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company.
Good morning, everybody. It's the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Another cold morning. I don't know. Maybe my memory's wrong. I can't remember every day being cold like this, but we'll carry on. Warmth is coming next week, I think. So we get a little warmed up. We'll get more into baseball. See, when it's cold out here, we don't feel the Florida spring training vibe. When it gets a little warm, we start to feel that vibe, and we're going to have to start feeling that vibe very soon. So hopefully that's coming down the way. All right, the Sixers lose last night, and the first thing I could think of was, oh my God, let's roll here. And I looked at the rest of their schedule, and I go, wow, can they actually lose 18 of their last 20 games? And if they did that, would that put them in a position to get that favorable draft pick that isn't protected? They get a top 6. Anything else, they would have to give to the San Antonio Spurs. So I was looking at the schedules last night. If the Sixers won only 2 of their last 20, which is very possible, considering the team they're trotting out there these days, they should sit everybody. I'm telling you, they need to play more with the guy that I never even heard of who played last night, who wore number 65 or something, and he looked like a sack of potatoes. Who are they playing? Where are they getting these guys that can put on the roster at this point? But anyway, it's good. They need to lose these games. I am rooting every night for them to get spanked. And they got spanked last night by a Celtic team that was missing 4 of their starters. 23-69. If they finish 23-69, could the Sixers get in that top 6? I started to look at the other teams that are involved here. The Wizards have 12. They're locked. The Hornets have 14 wins. They're locked. The Jazz have 15 wins. They're locked. The Pelicans have 17 wins. They're locked, and now we get to the nitty-gritty. The Raptors right now have 20 wins. The Sixers and the Nets have 21 wins. I looked at the Nets' schedule. Bill Colarulo's here. Ray Dunn is here. I want to get their feedback in a second. I looked at their schedule. The Nets have, 5 winnable games left. The Nets are a better team than the Sixers right now. They're playing hard. They just beat the Warriors the other night. At Charlotte, Dallas, Toronto twice, and the Wizards. I am here to predict that the Sixers, if they continue this efficient play where they get spanked every night and they play Lonnie Walker 20-plus minutes a night, that they will, in fact, get a top 6 pick. Bill, your thoughts?
Speak it into existence, Mike. That's what I'm hoping, man. You're right. You look at this schedule. The problem is they do play the Raptors twice. So if they beat the Raptors,
that's 2 winnable games now.
And if the Sixers win both of those games, they're
not going to win both.
End up hurting themselves.
They are not going to win both of those games.
But that's going to be tough basketball to watch, though, because both teams are going to be trying to lose that game.
But here's the interesting part. The Sixers coming up in the middle of a 6-game road trip are at the Oklahoma City Thunder. It behooves the Oklahoma City Thunder to lose to the Sixers. Will they throw that game, Bill?
You and I were talking a little bit off air. You said you'd be shocked if SGA plays in that game.
There is no shot that he's playing in that game.
But even without
that's a rest game. If I'm Mike Missanelli, that's a rest game for SGA.
But even without SGA, is there any chance that this cast of characters the Sixers are going to roll out can beat OKC? I don't see it happening.
They have to rest more than just Shaq.
They'd have to make it a full rest.
They would
night.
have to rest three starters for the Sixers to win that game.
But it's going to be close. It's definitely going to be close. And you just hope, like last night, I had said to you before the game, like, hey, any chance we should bet Quentin Grimes going for more than 25? He had 6 points last night, Mike. So if he's not able to score, I don't think this team has a shot against anybody if you're not going to roll out Maxey and George. Now, they haven't completely said Maxey and George aren't playing the rest of the season, right? They were just out last night. There's still a chance that they're going to play these guys down the stretch. It's going to be close. But what would be terrible is if they finish seventh worst. So now you don't get the play-in, and you also don't get your top 6 protected pick, and you just finish in limbo. I don't know, man. I'm looking at the schedule. It's going to be interesting. I guess at least we have that to look forward to, right? At least we have something to watch with these Sixers down the stretch. Can they win or not? Now, you said something. You said the Nets are a better team than the Sixers. I know they're playing hard, but they've lost 6 in a row. At least the Raptors have won 2 in a row. So maybe the Raptors can keep winning games and beat the Sixers.
I'm very optimistic. I haven't been this optimistic about a Sixer team in a really long time, that they can lose 18 of the last 20 games.
Well, you're optimistic about being pessimistic.
Look at who they had in the game last night, Bill. Would you look? Just look. Look at the box score. Look who they had in that game that played off the bench last night. You want to hear them?
You're not an Alex Reese fan?
Here it is. Adem Bona, of course, is going to be getting a lot of it. Jared Butler, Jeff Dalton played 18 minutes. Lonnie Walker played 28 minutes. And Ricky Kelso played 8. This is the crap they're throwing out there right now. And somebody named Alex Reese, I have never heard of at any level of basketball. And I watch college basketball. Apparently he played for Alabama. I had no idea. Who is this guy?
Who is he? Well, he played one game for OKC this year.
He's like the guy in spring training who wears number 95. Like, who is the guy? They throw him in the lineup. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, undrafted out of Alabama. That was his 3rd game.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. He looked like George Niang in worse shape and with no ability.
Well, we're trying to work on this. I can't confirm it yet, but as part of the knockout tournament on March 26th, you may be the 6th man off the bench, in addition to getting to compete in knockout.
I'm worse than Jeff Dalton at this point in my life. All right. So what I would really want to get to is this topic about Sports Talk Radio.
Oh, before you do, this is how you know how bad things are with the Sixers. Sixers play the Celtics last night, and Ray Dunn, who is a diehard Sixers fan, went to the Flyers game instead of watching the Sixers and the Celtics. That's when you know things have gotten a little bit bad.
Ray Dunn did not go to...
Well, he didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
He went down to the Wells Fargo to watch the Fly guys.
He went to the Flyers last night. How'd they make out? Play the horn, Ray.
No, you can't today.
Play the horn. What happened? What happened, Bill? That up-and-coming team.
Well, I guess you could play the horn because Michkov, with that big goal at the end of the game that maybe 8,000 people saw.
I saw it. I stayed.
Meanwhile, go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I stayed. I got to see Michkov score.
You got to see that game. Meanwhile, with this young core, where they really upgraded, and they got rid of 2 younger players. One guy last night that they got rid of, who was supposed to be part of their young core, scored a dazzling goal last night.
That was a pretty sweet goal by Farabee.
Joel Farabee, or if he was from the Congo, he'd be Joel Farabee.
Yeah.
And so there you go.
All right, so then last thing on hockey, the NHL trade deadline is today at 3 o'clock. So there is a chance we'll be hitting the breaking news sound to announce some trades. There's a few guys on the trading block. You got Scott Lawton, Ristolainen.
Telling to me that would be really breaking news.
Yeah, we're going to hit it. We're going to hit the breaking news.
All right.
Mike's going to be excited about it.
They trade lots. It's going to be breaking news, so stand by for that.
All right.
All right, so just on the other side, I want to talk about this Sports Talk Radio topic because we had a little discussion yesterday about it, and Crossing Swords did a story on it today, what we talked about last night, because they punched down at the callers of Sports Talk Radio. For the life of me, I can't understand how a site that deals in gossip, where they call the Sports Talk Radio callers idiots, and the same quote-unquote idiots are actually patronizing their site. I don't really get where they're coming from. But they don't understand the value of phone calls. I've been doing this for 30 years. Phone calls and feedback from the sports fans of the Delaware Valley are essential and very valuable to the content of Sports Talk Radio. And the fact that this site doesn't think they are should alarm all the people that are engaged in Philadelphia sports who want to call Sports Talk Radio. And on the other side, I want to explain why it's valuable. And I want to know from you out there in Radio Land what you think Sports Talk Radio is all about for you. Nobody can articulate it better than the people who call this radio station that wants to talk about the issues of sports. And I kind of resent the fact that an outside entity looks at it and they go, well, Bobby from Brookhaven is an idiot and he has no validity to his viewpoint. Doesn't matter if he has validity or not. The value in the call is that people are engaged in the sports scene itself. And part of the value of it is going back and forth, exchanging opinions. That's the lifeblood of what we do here. So I hope we can have a discussion on that.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what the callers think about the callers on Sports Talk Radio. It'll be interesting.
It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. What does Sports Talk Radio mean to you? We get the feedback on text and on phone calls on the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this. It's the Mike Missanelli Show, 1016 610-632-0975. I need engagement on this, all right? Because I'm looking at this story. I would invite the guy who wrote this story, Kevin, from Crossing Swords, to actually come on the show if he's so inclined. You know the number. Just call in. Because here's what I said yesterday. And this was in response to Crossing Broad writing a story that
so much to the
but
callers.
It really wasn't, because they didn't know what they were talking about here. They're saying that a show without phone calls is much better. Now, the reason why they say that is because they are reducing the people who call sports radio shows to idiots. And not everybody's an idiot, but even the idiot who calls is valuable because it's discourse. So they're making their intention was not to compliment us, but was to knock down callers at reducing sports talk radio to a barbarian level. That was what their whole mission was. So I said this: I should let these people know it's not the quality of calls that count on sports talk radio; it's the general engagement of the audience that counts. Nobody's going to cure cancer if they call sports talk radio, but they want to be engaged in this phenomenon that's Philadelphia sports. If you're going to stand on some lofty perch, my God, Crossing Broad, and if you're going to cast aspersions downward when you sit at your level, please stop this. So, in other words, they're criticizing Bobby from the Northeast. And I'll go on. This is what he writes. I think Mike is missing the point here. The article was a compliment. I was trying to say something nice. I think the Fanatic has been more enjoyable recently because I'm hearing more from the station's educated host and less from the morons, nitwits, and dopes of the Delaware Valley. If that amends to punching down, fine. But this is more of a general philosophical stance. If someone wants to partake in the Philadelphia sports talk ecosystem, that's great. But that doesn't mean they deserve a platform to blather on about nonsense. That's exactly what they deserve. They exactly deserve a platform to blather on, no matter what their view is. And he says the reason no one wants to hear from Bobby in the Northeast is because Bobby doesn't know what the F he's talking about. Bobby isn't knowledgeable in the subject matter. Well, how do you know that? How is this guy sit in judgment with the Bobbies of the Northeast of the world? Because even if they don't have a salient point, they want to be engaged with their opinion on this phenomenon that is Philadelphia sports.
We have some people weighing in on this on the YouTube chat who are agreeing with you. So a few people. Sports Talk Radio is the voice of the fans and the voice of the people. Someone else was talking about how sports talk and the callers mean a lot more when you move out of Philly. It's a way of staying connected with the city. People are saying they will take sports talk radio over podcasts any day because of the callers. So there's a lot of people who are agreeing with you. Now, there are some who are saying, though, hearing from the same callers every single day can take its toll.
Yeah, that's fine. But they put it in perspective, all right? You know, these people want to call. They want to voice their opinion. And we eliminate a lot of people out as repeat calls. We try to edit that as much as we can to get a more variety of calls. But the thing that this bugs me about is that Crossing Swords somehow thinks they're on some kind of a high perch. And I'm going, where do you get the balls to come off on a high perch? Like, they're basically insulting our audience because Bobby from the Northeast calls our show. Well, guess what? Bobby from the Northeast is also reading their blather on their site. And so I was going back and forth with Kevin. He goes, oh, I think we have some erudite readers. Oh, erudite readers? Like, what? Who do they think they're what are the people that are writing for Crossing Swords? What are they, like a bunch of F. Scott Fitzgeralds down there? They're writing this brilliant literature that only erudite people can read? The same sports fans that are calling us are also reading their nonsense.
Now, don't come at me, because I'm just playing devil's advocate here. The argument that they could make, though, is the people who are reading their articles aren't writing their articles, right? So they could make the argument that when the callers call, they now become a part of the show. When you read an article, you're not writing in that article. So that's where the difference, I think, lies. Is, yes, we're relying on the same listeners and readers.
So we're supposed to be punished because it's audio? We shouldn't be punished because it's audio.
No, but they become a part of the show. Okay. Callers become a part of our show.
And why isn't that good? Sports Talk Radio has survived in this town for a really long time because callers become part of the show.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We're not putting on a performance for people. We're engaging people to talk about the issues. That's the value of Sports Talk Radio, just like it's the value of a barroom conversation between you and your bros, Bill.
Yeah, me and my bros, because I am a bro. But, I mean, you're right. It helps us get the pulse of the city. And, like, the day after the Super Bowl, I will say, being able to come on Sports Talk Radio and listen to the fans and hear how much a Super Bowl victory means to them, that's everything. I mean, that's everything that Sports Talk
is. Or what
is.
their view is of criticism. Maybe it's not the same view of ours. Maybe they are off base, but they are entitled to speak about what they feel about Philadelphia sports, or else Sports Talk Radio should not exist. What's the point of hearing us lecture to people every day unless we have a byplay with people saying, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, you're right, but maybe you're wrong because of this." That's what makes a conversation interesting. But I resent the fact that a site like this, which is like the lowest common denominator of content, is going to sit in judgment of what Sports Talk Radio is because Bobby from the Northeast calls. The same Bobby from the Northeast that reads their frickin' site. Now, if that guy wants to call, Kevin, if you want to call in, we'll have a discussion about it. You're going to lose it, but you can call in and have a discussion.
It is funny, though, that he said he thought he was being complimentary to us.
Yeah, but he really wasn't, because he was reducing Sports Talk Radio to the level of only idiots can participate. But even if you're an idiot, your participation is wanted.
Yeah, curious to hear, though, the callers weighing in on themselves now. Like, what do they think? How important are the callers to us?
This is why I brought it up today, because I want to hear people tell me what Sports Talk Radio means to them without somebody else taking pot shots, because a guy who calls in isn't to their intellectual level. 610-632-0975. As if there is an intellectual level. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn. This Fanatic Update is brought to you by the BetParks Online and Casino Sportsbook. Play your favorite casino games and bet sports on the BetParks app. You love to play, you play to win, you bet. BetParks must be 21 in NPA or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Bond this week with new contracts, but drama still out there for members of last year's team. C.J. Gardner-Johnson fired off tweets voicing his displeasure with Darius Slay going on his podcast and not naming C.J. G.J. as a potential leader for this team. Slay took to Twitter to say there's no problem on his end. A.J. Brown chimed in saying that the Eagles community is messy. Hopefully what isn't messy is free agency next week for the Eagles, which opens up in the NFL. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and 76ers lost last night. 76ers without Tyrese Maxey and Paul George, and they lost 123-105 as Jason Tatum scored 35 points for Boston. The Sixers dropped to 21-41, 20 games under 500, first time since that 2016-17 season. And the Flyers fell 4-1 to the Jets, and now all eyes turn to today's 3 o'clock NHL trade deadline. We will keep you updated with anything happening there with the Flyers. This update's also brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 10:29, Mike Missanelli Show. Listen, I don't want to make this a indictment of a gossipy repackaging blog site, but I think that you need to be accountable when you say things that I think are just ridiculous opinions. For instance, today on Crossing Swords, there is a headline that says, the data shows that Kyle Neptune is a generational choker. Now, that's written by this guy who writes for that site, who's like a 30-something guy who acts like he's 17 half the time. And he's a Temple guy. So he hates Villanova. So he'll write something like that. Now, Kyle Neptune probably won't survive as a Villanova coach. That's really not the point. But when you write a story like that, that would be something that would generate conversation between people. And the only way you get that conversation is to open phone lines for that conversation. They're not opening phone lines. They even closed down their comment section on their site. They post that on Twitter to get clicks. But there's no back and forth.
Yeah, they get the Twitter comments, though. Like they do like the engagement you get on Twitter when you post that up with the headline. Some people probably don't even read the article.
Right. So
they just comment.
Essentially, they're soliciting the comments from the Bobbies of the Northeast. Which they criticize us for making part of the show.
Yeah, same thing they did when they wrote the article about you yesterday. They're wanting all the comments. So they post it on Twitter with the headline, and they get a bunch of comments and a bunch of engagement, and then that helps them.
Right. So
you're right. Their engagement's different than our engagement.
So who's more honest? The people like us who directly talk to the people and are held accountable for the stuff we say, and we go back and forth with people, or them who run and hide, write something and run back in a cave. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Tell me the truth.
Yeah, I guess you're right on this one. I'm trying to look to see what people in the chat. It sounds like most people in the chat agree with your position on this. Now, I don't know what the callers are going to think or the text board's going to think, but at least our YouTube chat seems to be leaning more on you. Now, they are saying, though, that there are some callers, like I said, that are too much, that you hear from the same over and over.
Let's just distinguish between what other stations do and what this station does, okay? I try to get callers that will help the discussion, and we're trained our people to do that. And if somebody call, like, what's his name calls from
Bethlehem?
Yeah.
Dr. Mad Elf?
Yeah, Dr. Mad Elf from Bethlehem calls every day. Now, sometimes we go, no, we can't take Dr. Mad Elf today. It's too repetitive.
Correct.
Right? We would like diversity in the calls. And sometimes we won't take a lot of calls because they're repetitive calls. I get it. I don't know what other stations do. If you're tired of regular callers for another station, then you'll go to them. All right? Don't indict everybody in one pot. I have had always a certain way to handle calls, to use them for the benefit of the entertainment value of the show.
Yeah, I do think that one of the things I've observed now, working with you for 6 or 7 months, is your way with the callers is pretty impressive. It is. The way that you use the callers and you're able to make it entertaining and go back with them, you do a very good job than just the standard, listen to them, thanks for the call, and moving on. Like your engagement with the callers, I think that's what you've done over the last 25, 30 years, even though I didn't know you were on the air before 7 months ago.
So, but here's the thing that bugs me more than anything. Yeah, I get it. I heard that. Like people sitting in judgment, it makes me laugh. Like I go, who the hell are you to say that Bobby in the Northeast doesn't know what the F he's talking about? Who are you? You know what the F you're talking about? Like everybody is entitled to their own view of something. If they don't know the full story, we will let them know that they don't know the full story. But they are entitled to their opinion. And Bobby from the Northeast calls and says Daryl Morey hasn't done a good enough job and he should be fired. Is that somebody who doesn't know what he's talking about? Or is that somebody who is part of the Philadelphia sports scene who's feeling the same angst that we all feel about the Sixers?
Yeah, that's a good example. Now, a bad example would be everyone who wanted Nick Sirianni fired. Yeah, they didn't know what they were talking about, and they should have listened to me. But this isn't about Sirianni today.
But at the time, when Sirianni was acting the fool,
they were still wrong.
No, they weren't wrong. Everybody was right in their opinion that you shouldn't act a fool, to the point where the Eagles took it under advisement. And they called your man in and said, you got to act more like Bill Colarulo.
No, you're right. They did, and I think that obviously helped them down the stretch. But you're right. I mean,
was that feedback from the masses? Was that a marketing survey, essentially, which is what we do? We do marketing surveys every day on Philadelphia Sports.
And I know the Eagles would probably never admit this, and some of the other sports organizations in this town would never admit this, but you're probably right. They do listen to what the fan base is saying because it matters, because ultimately they're running a business, and they want to put on the best product.
And their customer is always right.
Sometimes.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the text board, Ray. What do you got on the text board with this?
Yeah, we got Anthony from Bethlehem checking in, say, across the broad, missed the point. I love hearing the callers, good or bad, and talking to knowledgeable people at 97.5. Also, it's an opportunity to hear things like Ricky explain why Noel is actually a really valuable player, or Bill plead his case that Sirianni should be trusted. While those weren't necessarily popular opinions, it's these calls that brought those discussions to the forefront and created meaningful conversation.
What is the essence of being a sports fan? It's discussions. Everybody talks about sports every day. I can go somewhere, like today, I got blood work done. I hear people talking sports. The conversations, talking sports. That's what we do. We foster that conversation.
Yeah, and it's a nice distraction sometimes from life that you could focus on something bigger than yourself, which is sports. I get you. More people weighing in on this, Ray?
Yeah, we got some people also on the other side that are kind of going with what the YouTube conversation is, saying that some callers drive them nuts. Specifically, Joey from Downtown saying Ish complimenting Bill drives him crazy. And then we got just sometimes callers can drag, according to a few of our texters.
Yeah, well, calls don't drag here because I rarely keep them past 2 minutes. So that's not a drag, and that's one of the disciplines of doing sports talk radio and how you have to do it. But here's the point, right? Driving you nuts as a listener, a caller driving you nuts, is in itself entertaining. Because you go, oh, there's that freaking Ish again. Oh, he's such an idiot. That's an entertainment. You get entertainment value out of that. At its very lowest core, you still get entertainment out of it. Oh, there's this guy again. Let me see what this idiot has to say today.
Yeah, but I think I just take – I have a little bit of an issue with calling Ish the idiot since he's the one that said I needed a statue and a painting.
Yeah,
and all that. Ish is not an idiot.
Enough about you. This is, I don't think, a discussion about you being right.
Ish is not a good example.
As much as you want it. All right, on the other side of the break, we're going to talk to a caller who has an opinion on this. So and I want as many calls as we can. Listen, we sit here and we're like, I don't know, we're the conduit. The information comes from the phone lines to us back out. Like we're the messenger. So I want people to sound off on it. Sports talk radio. What does it mean to you? How valuable is it in your life? What is the payoff of sports talk radio for you? 610-632-0975. Back after this.
The Philadelphia 76ers
Phillies play at the Pirates today. They're at the Pirates on the road today in Bradenton, Florida. Bradenton, Florida is an hour south of Clearwater. So, Bill, knowing that, I want you to give me today's starting lineup for your Fighting Phils.
You want me to guess or look it up?
I want you to guess it. I have it in front of me. I want you to guess the starting lineup. It's a road game, so take that in consideration.
All right, so I'm assuming no Harper or Realmuto or Trey Turner.
You are correct, sir.
All right, so that.
All right, so who's leading off for the Phillies? He's the DH today. Who's leading off?
DH today.
DH.
Is it
You know
Schwarber?
what's happening with the Phillies. Who are they making the DH because he's got a shoulder injury?
Rojas.
Yeah.
So Rojas is leading off today?
Rojas is leading off today. Who's second? He's playing third base today. A veteran, but not a starter.
Is it Sosa?
It is, Cody Clemens at third base. At shortstop.
This is a really
shortstop is Sosa. Who's catching today?
Marchand.
Nope, it's Garrett Stubbs.
Oh, Stubbs
hitting cleanup today.
Oh, my God.
Who is playing center field for your Fighting Phils? A guy now, spare outfielder who's getting a lot of acclaim this spring.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said he may be the breakout kind. Is it Cal Stevenson?
Cal Stevenson hitting 5, playing center field. At first base, if you get this, I will walk out. You can have the rest of you can have it. It'll be a Bill Colarulo show. If you get this, I'm out, and it's the Bill Colarulo show.
Kemp.
Oh, no!
I'm just kidding. I looked it up.
Oh, you bastard.
I cheated.
Otto Kemp in first base. All right, now the kid, the prospect, Gabriel Rincones, is in right field. Matt Kroon's in left field. Rafael Lantigua is the second baseman, and Christopher Sanchez is the pitcher. Now, isn't there a rule, Ray, that you have to have 3 starters when you go on the road? Didn't they mandate that?
Yeah, it should be 3 regulars, right?
Three regulars. Yes,
rule?
3 regulars. So who in that lineup is a regular other than maybe Rojas?
Oh, man.
All right, so today the lineup was
Rojas, Clemens, Sosa, Stubbs, Stevenson, Kemp.
Could they make the argument that Sosa and Stubbs are regulars since they were on the roster?
I don't know. Can they make that argument? I guess.
Who's the pitcher today?
Sanchez.
We're going to count Sanchez.
I think they're probably counting Rojas, Sosa, Stubbs.
All right. Boy, what a bargain those Pirate fans are getting with this lineup.
What do you think about Stubbsy in the cleanup spot?
I think it's ridiculous. Man, the truth. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, jeez. What a lineup to be treated to down there today.
That's unbelievable, that lineup. All right, so, Bill, read something from the chat board with a guy was talking about Sports Talk Radio Versa podcast.
Yeah, let me just find it because they've been very active. Let me go. I'm scrolling back up here. Okay, here we go. The podcast, this is from Philly Hotspur. The podcast format is so boring. You have the same 2 guys with the same 2 opinions for 4 hours discussing the same thing. Callers bring another lens to the conversations. And then there were people agreeing with him. Miguel says, so true, and there's more substance. The podcasts are all about who's the top 5 quarterbacks, who's more elite. Seriously, no one cares. The podcast format is a complete snooze fest. I love hearing other opinions, which add significant relevance at times, and some are just plain entertaining.
Well, part of the entertainment also is the host messing with the caller. Like, I love to mess with a caller. I love to squeeze the juice out of a caller. In fact, I was doing this very podcast that was going very well. I had fun doing the podcast. But what brought me back when they asked me to come back? One of the things that was a main thing for me was I get to engage with people, like live action talk. Conversation is what makes the world go round.
And somebody weighed in on Twitter as well, tweeted at us, Sean Walter. Sports Talk Radio is immensely valuable to me. I listen to it all day. It's informative, entertaining, sometimes maddening, and it provides company. It's a way to get the thoughts of the man on the street without actually having to do the legwork. So getting that man on the street type of stuff, which Ray Dunn was doing for us at the parade, but I understand what this guy means.
And I'm going to tell you another thing. I know a lot of people, well, you should have more guests. You know, very few guests pay off. You know, you can hear a guest, and unless, their content isn't that great when you have a guest. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, some guests add value. You're right. Some
do,
guests add value.
But some don't.
But then there's some shows, I think that, and I'm not talking about our station, but I know especially, I'm not going to name any names, but there's some shows where they use the guest as a crutch. They just want it because it's easier. It's a lot easier to do a segment when you have a guest than to try to come up with your own content.
Kill 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But, the fact is, I don't want to hear myself blather and talk for 4 hours.
You don't?
I want to have engagement with people. That's the essence of what we do here.
So should we get some engagement about the NHL trade deadline
No,
today?
we won't have engagement about that. We'll have engagement with our caller. Because 2 from Philadelphia has been on the line for a while. 2, what's up? You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mikey Miss.
What's up, 2?
No, it's Q. It's Q.
Oh, it's
Mike.
Q.
It's me, man.
Sorry, man. I had 2 down.
Sorry, man.
It's Q. All right, I got
cool,
it.
Man, I listened to.
What's up, Q? How you doing?
When I was incarcerated.
Oh, I remember.
Right,
I remember you, Q.
See, this the thing, Mike. I was in the hard, rough spot, man. I come from a rough background. But guess what? I listen to talk radio every day, man, and was listening to it when I was back in my day, and it was very informative. But let me tell you, I sometimes get more from the actual callers than I get from the host. No slight to you, Mike.
No, I get it because they have a perspective. Whatever they're thinking about sports has some kind of value, whether it's preposterous or not. It's what they're thinking. It's what their judgment is when they've seen something.
And for the most part, like a guy like myself, this is like my fraternity. Like I'm connected to you guys, man. I didn't go to college. I don't got no. I didn't get Hayes. But this is where I come to get my information. This is where I get the, able to call. Like everybody that call is somebody. Where you get the call and get your point across and get to engage with somebody like a Mike.
Exactly.
Like
So
everybody that call is a somebody. Everybody.
And that's what I'm saying. Everybody is a somebody. And from some site to judge people as lower than thou, it's like, where do you get off? Maybe you are superior. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I was going to say, maybe you think you're so superior in your sports knowledge, and maybe you are. But that's not really the point, because other people have views as well. And you can communicate why they're either right or they're wrong or they're indifferent.
It's something to be said about being heard. You call sports radio, you get heard. Like in every walk of life, you want to be heard sometimes.
Absolutely right, man. Q, you're the best, bro. You used to call me from the joint, didn't you? Did you call me?
I didn't call you from the joint.
Okay, all right.
When I came home, I started calling. You was the reason why I started calling. I started listening to joint, and I was getting my ready because
I appreciate that.
You don't get all the games.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
The games on, yeah, no doubt. Mike, I love a good Mike Missanelli.
Thanks, Q. I appreciate it. I remember Q. But we did have some callers from prison in my day when they were allowed to listen to the show and had access to fun. They would call, and I would get all kinds of letters from people that were in prison as well. Everybody is making a judgment about sports. The thing about sports is it's universal. Everybody like we sit here as the so-called experts, but this is the only job where everybody else thinks that they're more of an expert than the people who are supposed to be experts. You can look at any job, like a nuclear physicist. Could I go in there and say, you know what, you're doing that wrong? No. A lawyer, same thing. Like, I didn't teach you how to law. It's like one of those deals.
But everybody can have an opinion about sports.
Exactly. And everybody thinks they're right about it. That doesn't mean they are. The opinion is what counts. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Vaughn this week with new contracts, but there's still a little bit of drama in Eagles land. CJ Gardner-Johnson fired off some tweets this week, voicing his displeasure with Darius Slay not naming CJ GJ as potential leader for this team on Slay's podcast. Slay took to Twitter to say that on his end, A.J. Brown chimed in saying the Eagles community is messy. Hopefully what isn't messy is NFL free agency for the Eagles, which opens next week, the legal tampering period opening up on Monday at noon as the Birds begin to build for the hopes of back-to-back Super Bowl runs. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and 76ers lost last night. 76ers without Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. They lost 123-105 to the Celtics as Jason Tatum scored 35 points for Boston. The Sixers dropped to 21-41, 20 games under 500. Flyers fell 4-1 to the Jets, and now all eyes turn to today's 3 o'clock NHL trade deadline. We will keep you updated if the Flyers make any moves at the deadline and what it means for them going forward. This update is brought to you by AAA Car Care. Come into your local AAA Car Care center and save $40 on any repair of $150 or more. Offer valid through March 31st. Details at AAA.com/mycar. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
10:56, Mike Missanelli Show. I'm reading some text. I mean, you can text me, by the way, at MikeMiss25 or tweet me. There's a guy named Gil Birds. He goes, love watching Mike Miss25, the PSU grad, fight with Kevin Kincade, the WVU grad. Having fun. And I go, I write back, wait, WVU has grads?
And then,
like, come on now.
then Kincade came back at you. Did you see? Some of the finest folks out there, he said.
Really? Yeah.
Sticking up for his WV.
Yeah. You got to Morgantown. You put up with hillbillies for 4 years, and they give you a certificate. That's how you graduate.
Yeah, one of my college coaches was a West Virginia grad. He told me some stories.
Yeah, great place. Our Haley is a WVU grad.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Haley works for us. All right, so let's get to. Should we get to a phone call? We got some interesting little sound to play today. Draymond Green said some things yesterday, or on his podcast, and this gets to the whole podcast thing. What you can say, how much accountability you have when you do a podcast, and like what he said on the podcast. If a journalist had said that, the journalist would be sanctioned and maybe even fired.
You talking about what he said about Carl Anthony Towns?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
he had an opportunity to apologize.
Well, he was asked about it after last night's game. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's get to a phone call right now. We got Larry from Philadelphia checking in. What's up, Larry? Larry? Hello, Larry.
What?
Hey, you're on. You're on, buddy. Yeah, we got you.
My bad.
That's all right. Go ahead.
So, Mike, you gotta listen to talk radio because I think you guys hit on it earlier in the week when you say talk radio. If something breaks, you're gonna get it instantly. And I could tell, like, if I'm at the barbershop, I'm giving them my own opinion. Sometimes they don't even know what's going on because I'm coming in from listening to talk radio, and they're waiting on a podcast.
Yeah.
And like you said, everybody has their opinion. Like you said, it could be a sports talk.
Let's look at yesterday.
Like a guy on the street.
Yeah, Larry, let's look at yesterday. Let's use an example. All right, so what broke earlier yesterday? There was this feud, or there was something we didn't know it was between Slay and C.J. Garner-Johnson. And C.J. Garner-Johnson puts out that tweet where he implied that maybe it was his contract wasn't being settled while Saquon was, but in fact it was kind of a shot at Darius Slay. So we go, okay, why? Well, we find out that Slay had put out on a podcast that who's going to be the leader if you leave, and he says Reed Blankenship, and he didn't mention CJ. So that's like fluid news,
exactly.
Like that you can talk about, and everybody has an opinion. Whether your opinion was you were pro CJ or whether your opinion were pro Slay, that's a conversation that's highly entertaining.
Yeah, and the callers, like the last guy said, the callers definitely bring something to the table. Let me just tell you a quick story.
I
think it was like back in '91 when the Temple was relevant. No shot to the Temple guy.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Maker was on the team. I was at the First Friday event, and the guy, we were debating back and forth. Even though they were good, and I'm a homer, I wanted them to win. He kept saying they're going to make it to the Final Four. I kept saying, no, no chance. I don't think they have enough to, make it to the championship game. We're going back and forth for like a long 5 minutes. So I walk away, and my buddy's saying, like, what the hell was you arguing with Sonny Hill for? Yo, I did not. And look, I've been listening to this guy as long as I could listen to him. But I was debating with Sonny Hill. I didn't know it. Mm-hmm. But I had valid points. He had valid points. So just because he's just, like, he's on my Mount Rushmore talk show.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's the conversation that is the essence of what we do in sports. Like everybody and your buddies, you're always talking about sports. We just take it to an electronic higher level. That's all we do.
Electronic higher level.
Take it to an electronic higher level. We broadcast the same conversations that may be taking place all over.
And where do they get broadcast from?
They get broadcast from the Comcast studio, powering possibilities, because you're listening to Bill, man. Phil's turned into a radio guy.
How about that?
When you're listening to WPN HD Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station. Yes, Bill, we broadcast live from the Comcast Business Studio. Powering possibilities.
So an interesting thing is happening on Twitter right now,
What
too.
do you got?
People are tweeting at Kevin Kincade saying,
really?
Mike's challenging you to call in. Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up happening.
Listen, if he does it, that's fine. But what I read where he goes. Let me see, because he tries to make a case here about us taking calls, and I go like I don't understand why that you would look at that as a bad thing if you're judging from the outside. The only way you're judging it as a bad thing is because you think you're at a higher level than somebody who might call Sports Talk Radio. And I go, well, how do you know that you're at a higher level? Like, that person may have a more valid opinion than you. You know? Like, your opinions aren't 100% accurate when you write for your site.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, you would agree there are some callers who have ridiculous, outrageous opinions. But there are some who are very knowledgeable. It's interesting because you do get your finger on the pulse of how the city is thinking on things. We'll ask that a lot. Like, we're not there yet because I think a lot of people haven't turned their focus to the Phillies yet because, like you said, the weather's still cold. They're still in spring training. But pretty soon it'll be nice to hear, well, how are people feeling about this Phillies season? What are they thinking? Are they excited? Are they still nervous about the disappointments the last 2 Octobers? Those types of things you can't get on a podcast. We can get that here.
Yeah. He says, why is it better? He's actually complimented us, right? It's better because we didn't take calls because our phone lines were shut down for the longest time. And he says, why? Well, because there are no idiots junking up the show. No disrespect to Bobby in the Northeast. What? No disrespect to Bobby in the Northeast, but nobody cares what Bobby in the Northeast thinks about the Eagles. Yes, we do. That's the point. We do care what Bobby in the Northeast cares about the Eagles. And he says Bobby Northeast doesn't add anything. So no, he does. He does add something to the show because even if his opinion is out in left field, the conversation that we tell him that it's out in left field is the entertaining part of it. That's the nugget that they're missing here. He wants to trade A.J. Brown and New England Patriots, then draft a receiver. Bobby in the Northeast thinks that Bob Myers is going to take over the 76ers and trade Joel Embiid to the Pistons for 3 first-round draft picks. Well, if Bobby from the Northeast says that, we say, Bobby, you're an idiot. And that in itself is entertaining.
But you calling Bobby an idiot on the air isn't disrespectful, but putting it in an article that he shouldn't call is.
Right. No disrespect to Bobby in the Northeast, but nobody cares what Bobby in the Northeast thinks because Bobby in the Northeast is a dum-dum, he says.
Listen, when you clarified earlier about how you handle calls versus another station, I think that's where you're hitting the nail on the head because there are callers on the station that won't be named that feel they're a part of the show and they don't add anything and they just have become these characters that call every single day and now they've given way too much airtime. And I agree that nobody cares what they have to say because it's not relevant. They're just trying to be part of the show that they're not a part of. I agree with you, though, when our callers call in and they have opinions on things and it allows us to either agree or disagree with them, that creates good discourse. That creates good conversation, which ultimately that's what sports is.
Exactly. Now, let me give you a little example. Remember the guy that called and he said, hey, man, I think Jared McCain is going to end up being better than Allen Iverson. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
The guy calls up. Now, that's idiotic. So you go, so I give him a, come on, man. And then I dig deep. And now the people that are listening to that either can go 2 ways with it. Yeah, I think that guy's got a point. I think Jared McCain is good enough to be Allen Iverson. Or this guy is such an idiot to think that Jared McCain could be Allen Iverson. Either way, that conversation is entertaining to people because people are going, can you believe that guy just called up and said Jared McCain is going to be as good as Allen Iverson?
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's the outrageous opinion, but then there are other people who maybe make an opinion that does make you think, or maybe it's not outrageous, and you think about it. Talking about entertaining, people are going to want to keep it here all day because Kevin Kincade has checked in on the YouTube chat. He will be calling in later. So keep it here. I don't know what time.
All right.
But you're going to hear Mikey Miss and Kevin Kincade go at it.
That sounds good. He's from the Harvard of the of the Virginias.
But he's a good sport.
West Virginia University.
He just wrote in the YouTube chat, Kevin Kincade, I will defeat Mike on this topic outright. Outright. So he dropped a Mikey Miss outright on
Let me
us.
tell you something, man. When I go outright, it never loses. Except last night when the Knicks didn't beat the Lakers.
Well, Brunson. Yo, Brunson, man, that ankle. How serious?
Yeah, he's going to be out, which I tell you, this is what I say. The Knicks next game, who do they play the next game? You got to pound the other side.
Ray, you have that? Oh, they're at L.A.
They're at
tonight.
Clippers.
Yeah, Clippers. They're at the L.A. Clippers tonight.
What's the line on that? Because I'm about to put $1 million on the Clippers. On the money line.
Hold on. I'm
back to back and no Brunson?
back to back
And no Brunson.
and no Brunson.
What's the line?
Oh, and I'm getting there. Taking a while. I'm on FanDuel. The line tonight, Knicks at Clippers. -8. Money line for the Clippers, -290.
-8. -290 seems like a good price to bet $1 million on. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
97.5 The Fanatics Knockout Tournament is back.
Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. So this morning, I had to go to the lab. I have this video checkup next week, right, with a nurse practitioner, my cardiologist department. So I had to get this blood work. Now, I put it off for 3 months until the last day, which was today, because they have to have the data to interpret for the video thing.
Wait, like a telemed you're talking about?
Yeah, like a telemed. So I skeeved the needle. I'll be the first to tell you.
You skeeve?
I skeeve it.
So you're not nervous. You just don't. You think it's like dirty?
No. I just I find it creepy.
You get weak and stuff. Like
I don't get weak, but I don't like anybody.
How the hell are you going to get a tattoo?
Well, a tattoo's different.
It's a needle.
Yeah, but they're drawing blood from you. Like the tattoo is actually you're painting something on you. So I could put up with that, something pain like that. But I skeeved the crux of the arm for the needle. In the middle of the arm, like I don't like that bothers me.
Right in that vein.
So I have them take it out of my forearm.
I've never been bothered by the blood draw.
Really?
Yeah, it never bothered
It doesn't bother me when I take it out of the forearm. It bothers me when I take it in the crux of the elbow.
But that's where the bandage was today. So they went crux of the elbow.
No, it was right here.
Oh, they come down. I thought you meant way down.
No, it was right here on the forearm area.
Gotcha. By the way, Ray, just heads up. Kincaid's in the YouTube chat saying he's trying to call in. So
I see him in the chat. We're going to get him on the guest line.
Okay.
Give me a second here because our one.
All right, so we're going to put him on right now.
Not at this moment. In a couple minutes when I get him on the guest line.
We'll get him. So what happened? Were you all right today? Did you get a little weak in the knees? Hardly speak?
No,
you lose all control?
I don't get weak when they take it out. I get weak when they put it in the crux of the arm. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I don't like the IV. I've had 8 surgeries, right? 8 orthopedic surgeries. So
8?
I've had 8.
I know you've had the knee.
I've had 8 orthopedic surgeries.
My God. Yeah. What else did you have besides the knee?
I've had 2 on my shoulder. This is all from baseball.
Yeah.
2 on my shoulder, 2 on my knee, 1 on my foot, 1 on my hand, and 2 on my back.
Damn.
So you add that up, that adds up to 8. So the IV always bugs me. Like putting it on the top of the hand where that vein sticks out and they stick a needle in there, it skeeves me out.
Now, knock on wood, I'm not sure I've ever had an IV.
You never had surgery?
Surprisingly, all the years I played football and hockey, I've been fortunate. I mean, I never missed a game due to injury.
Wow.
I was pretty lucky. I separated my shoulder and played through it.
I love surgery.
You love it. Sign me up.
I do, because a lot of people go, oh, I'm afraid of surgery. I go, what are you afraid? I love it because it's going to fix the problem.
Yeah. It's kind of like as a Catholic, why you like confession. You feel good when you come out.
Oh, I never felt good about that. Please don't confuse the issues.
Oh, man. You have to start over.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm glad you brought that up. Because isn't confession the scariest thing you could ever encounter when you're a kid?
It was terrible.
It is.
It was terrible.
It's frightening.
I always hated it. And then sometimes
you're sitting in there, and it's like you're in the waiting room, and you're on the kneeler, and here it comes. Shh! Here comes that window sliding.
You're a nervous wreck. A nervous wreck about it.
And you're making up sins for crying out loud. What sin? I committed murder last week. I was 6 years old. Sorry, Father. Can you give me absolution?
So here's where I was always nervous. When you would have to say, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," it has been blank months or years. Did you really want to tell him it's been 2 years since your last confession?
No, but here's the beauty of it. You lie about that,
Yes.
so I lied once this week.
Yeah, you lie about how long it's been,
right.
But then you confess that I lied,
exactly.
And now you're fine when you come out.
It's beautiful.
Well, see, we're going through all this stuff now because I got to baptize my daughter. So we have to go through all these classes and stuff to show that we're good Christians, good Catholics.
Yeah.
It's not easy, man.
Yeah, no.
They make it hard.
All right. All right, is this dude on or what?
Ray is currently sliding into his DMs to give him the guest line number.
Oh, yeah.
We may have to do it on the other side. I don't know what time we're
All right, well,
we're out.
In the meantime, we do have a caller on the line anyway. So let's talk to Charles in Jersey. Charles, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Charles? Charles? Where's Charles? What happened to Charles?
Ray may not have been listening. Ray's got to pull him up.
Oh, Charles?
I put him up right now. It's not coming through, and the system looks like it's frozen. So,
Okay. All right.
give me a moment.
All All right, the system's frozen. What else is new? we get the system back up, and now the system's frozen. Oh my! All right, Bill. What's on your mind today, Bill? We just talked about needles and confession.
Yeah. Well, there's some interesting stuff going on out there. There was a report by Jeff McClain on his Uncovering the Birds podcast.
Yeah, this is interesting.
It is very interesting.
Opens a spot for Bill Colarulo, but it
does.
is interesting.
It does, because he said he spoke to an agent at the Combine who told him that Dallas Goedert will not be on the Eagles this coming season, which I understand it from a contract perspective, because he's in the final year of his deal. He's got no guaranteed money. You could save $4 million this year on the cap, $18 million next year on the cap if you were to trade him. But from a personnel perspective, who do you got? Like, Grant Calcaterra is an okay tight end too. He's not your lead guy. And how often have we heard from Sirianni? The passing offense runs through AJ, Devontae, and Dallas. And when you're a run-heavy team, you need your tight end to be a good run blocker, which Goddard is. So I could see them drafting a tight end this season, but you don't have a backup plan if you trade Goddard. So that'd be an interesting tidbit if that is in fact true. And I mean, I trust McClain's reporting. I'm sure someone told him that. I just hope it's inaccurate.
Yeah, well, the Eagles are good at reading when a guy, like, he starts to break down.
He's had injuries.
He's starting to break down. So I'm thinking that they think, well, we're going to be faced with giving him a new contract. Would we do that, or would make a decision on him now? Draft a young tight end. They think a lot of Calcaterra, but he certainly doesn't have the same boom that Goddard has.
Yeah, I mean, Goddard's 30. The best case scenario for me would be they figure out some sort of small extension. You lower his cap numbers a little bit. You're not breaking the bank because of his injury history. But if his camp is demanding too much money and they don't want to play on the final year of his deal, then maybe there could be some fire where there's smoke here that he's not here next year. That would be a big loss. I love Goddard. I know he can't stay healthy, but when he's on the field, he's one of the best going. So that's something to monitor in Eagle world.
All right. 610-622-0975 is how you get into the show. And I do really want to make this show inclusive to the people that are getting buried for being Bobos by a various site here in Philadelphia.
And we're trying to get the guy who did it.
And he's going to, we'll get his opinion on it, because he called them dum-dums. And he said Bobby from the Northeast, and it's not specifically Bobby in the Northeast. He's using that just as a term. Bobby from the Northeast doesn't know what the F he's talking about. And I go, maybe, but that doesn't mean we can exclude him. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Temple Men's Basketball. Don't miss the Owls battle North Texas this Sunday at 2 at the Leah Center. Kids tickets only $10 on game day. Visit owlstix.com. The Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Vaughn this week with new contracts, but we still got some drama in the Eagles world. CJ Gardner-Johnson firing off tweets this week voicing his displeasure with Darius Slay not naming CJ GJ as a potential leader for this team on Slay's podcast. Slay took to Twitter to say there's no problem on his end. A.J. Brown took to Twitter chiming in to say the Eagles community is messy. Hopefully, what isn't messy is NFL free agency for the Eagles, which opens up next week. The legal tampering period in the NFL opening up on Monday. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and the 76ers lost last night. 76ers lost to the Celtics 123-105. No Tyrese Maxey, no Paul George. Jason Tatum with 35 points for Boston. Loss drops the 76ers to 21-41, 20 games under 500. Flyers fell to the Jets 4-1. Now all eyes turn to today's 3 o'clock NHL trade deadline. We will keep you updated with everything going on there with the Flyers. This update's also brought to you by ExpressPros.com. Make hiring easier with the workforce experts. Let the people at Express Employment Professionals find you the right fit. Hiring is about people, not algorithms. Visit ExpressPros.com. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show. By the way, we got our knockout tournament going. Yep, it's going to happen Wednesday night, March 26th, following the Sixers game. And you can win a spot in the Fanatic Knockout Tournament and a pair of Sixers tickets for that night. And all you got to do is go to our website. It's 975thefanatic.com, 975thefanatic.com, and you enter a keyword for your chance to win a spot. You have till the end of the day to enter this keyword. Each winner, at the end of the day, will get a pair of tickets for the game that night versus the Wizards. And after the game, you'll head to the Sixers court for knockout. Today's keyword is foul. F-O-U-L, not F-O-W-L. F-O-U-L, Bill.
And we got a winner from yesterday.
And who's the winner from yesterday?
Yesterday's winner, Sarah Manning from Delran, New Jersey.
Oh, we got a young lady in the field.
That's right. So congratulations, Sarah. But like I said yesterday and the day before, we're coming for you. We're trying to win this thing.
I got Sarah Manning over you.
All right, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Usually a good competition.
Sarah must know how to shoot. She entered this contest.
So looking forward to seeing Sarah Wednesday, March 26th. Again, this is a big game, Mike, against the Washington Wizards. Because
really
this is a game that the Sixers could win, but we don't want them to.
That's correct.
So pay attention.
All right. Now, earlier we talked about the Sixers. Folks, if you watched the game last night, I know a lot of people don't even watch it. I watch it diligently. It was a national broadcast last night, too. So I like watching the national broadcast to see what they're saying. They lost again, and we expected them to lose. I actually thought I'm foolish for not pounding the line. 14.5 was a steal last night, even though the Celtics were without a lot of people. But Jason Tatum had 35 points in 3 quarters. It's the 14th loss in 16 games. I looked at the schedule. They got 20 games left. If they can manage to lose 18 of their last 20, I do believe they will get into that position of top 6, so they don't have to give away the first-round draft pick.
And then they would also have a 9% chance at maybe getting Cooper Flag.
Correct. So as I charted it out, I go, okay, right now they're tied with the Nets for 6. It goes Wizards 12 wins, Hornets 14 wins, Jazz 15 wins, Pelicans 17 wins, Raptors 20 wins, Sixers and Nets 21. The Sixers can manage to go 23-69. I believe that would get them that 6th spot because the Nets are playing decent. They have a young team, but they have all their components, and so they're playing a little bit. So they have at Charlotte, they have Dallas, they have 2 with Toronto, and they have 1 with the Wizards. Now, they're all winnable games for the Nets. The Sixers, on the other hand, look like they can only win 2 of their last 20. They play Toronto a couple times. They play the Wizards.
Well, that right there could be 3 wins. I'm with you. I don't think they beat Toronto both times, but that could be 3 wins.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win 3. I really do believe that they are now conditioned to lose. I think that a lot of people, you can't use the word tank, but the tank is in for the Sixers. They are now coaching to not win.
Well, yeah, when you're putting guys like Alex Reese on the court, I think that's signaling what's going on. But like you said earlier, though, they really only could win maybe 2 or 3 more, but they do play Oklahoma City, and it would behoove Oklahoma City to lose that game so they could say, all right, we could get that pick. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, I think, for them to only win 2 games.
Can I ask you a question? What makes Alex Reese better than Pete Nance or any any of the 5 other dudes that they've signed to be their 12th man?
I don't know, man.
Where does this guy come from? What is the other guy they had? Roddy? They have Roddy in there. They bring all these schmoes in.
It's been an interesting season, man. It has been an interesting season.
What a disgrace. It really is. And people are like going, I feel so sorry for the Sixers and their fans. They're just, what a disaster this year has been.
It has been bad.
I mean, it's really been ridiculous. All right, so let's get to some sound content. Raising, they're busy with the phones trying to. We have another problem with the phones, folks. Listen, we're at the mercy of technology, and
but I think we got it working.
It's been smooth. All right, Ray, what do we have here? You can go on the air. You can tell us.
Kevin's here. He's ready to go.
Oh, we go. Oh, okay. So let's set this up for the people that aren't that are just listening. So yesterday on Crossing Swords, there was this story about Sports Talk Radio and how it's better that we don't take calls. And I challenged that because I don't think that was really a compliment. I would think it was a shot at. So, in other words, we weren't good when we took calls. Now we're not taking calls who gum up the works. We're a better listen. Now, I can tell you that from my perspective, that is not the case. So the man who wrote that story, who is the patriarch of Crossing Swords, is on the line right now, Kevin Kincade. Kevin, are you with us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, we got you, Kevin. We got you loud and clear.
Hang on. Let me take you off Bluetooth. Hang on one second.
He's trolling right now.
Yeah, he's definitely trolling. All right.
Can you hear me now?
All right, so you're mocking a caller who doesn't know that he's on the air. I got it. All
Okay.
right.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, what's up, Mike?
Before we start, let me ask you, how'd you end up at WVU? Temple turned you down?
No, I wanted to get into the fine journalism school.
Oh, you did?
At West Virginia University.
Fine journalism school down there? All right. I missed that. I missed that part of the story. All right. So basically, would you like to summarize your stance here on why you think Sports Talk Radio is a better listen without calls?
First of all, I just have to say, don't you find it incredibly ironic that on the day we're talking about callers, that the phone lines keep breaking over and over again? I mean, you can't write a better script than that. That is great. Isn't it?
We've had a meltdown here of epic proportions that I quite don't understand. But as you know, like talk radio really allows people to call in, and we haven't been able to do that. So it's a very interesting. I don't understand it, but I'm just a schmo who talks. You know.
Well, I think sure. I will summarize. Here's the sticking point, right? I think where you and I are on diverging paths here. You and I both agree on the idea of participation, right, and allowing everybody to be involved in some way, shape, or form. You know, we want to create an ecosystem that is inclusive and welcoming, right? And have people have a say, share their opinion, partake in the conversation or whatever. I think you can do that in many ways now. I think you can do that in the YouTube chat. I think you can use the text board. I think you can message the host on social media. You know, there are ways to interact.
Which we do, by the way.
Which you do,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I think there are ways to interact where you can use those opinions in the show without having to come to like a screeching halt and put some guy on the radio who can't figure out how to turn the Bluetooth off or turn his radio down.
Yeah, but see, that's
hold on. Hang on. And then he proceeds to say, like, well, I think they should trade Joel Embiid to the Lakers for Luka Doncic. What do you think? I'm going to hang up and listen.
Yeah, well, nobody does that. And nobody hangs up and listens.
Oh, come on. Have you been doing this for 30 years? You know that's what they say.
But we don't say, no, don't hang up and listen. Let's have a conversation about it. And by the end of the conversation, either the guy is painted out as a nitwit or he's got a valid point, which is the essence of conversation. And okay, what's interesting to me is that you punch down, your audience is the same audience.
I don't think it is. First of all, you have to be able to read.
Oh, okay. So you're the Wall Street Journal only broadcasting to Harvard and Wharton Business School grads? I mean, give me a break. You got a 14-year-old writing for you who wears a American flag bandana. For crying out loud.
No, he's not 14. He's 30.
He's 30 going on 14.
Yeah. But by the way, if you see anybody who's 6'5" and looks like Ben Davis's son, that's Kyle Pagan.
I don't care that he's 6'5". An idiot's an idiot.
Anyway, let's get it back. Let's get it back on track here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, where were we? Oh, you were talking about the value. Right. So this is where you and I disagree. You think there's value in that because if somebody calls in and makes an idiotic point, then you have the argument and you say that they're an idiot or whatever. That's fine. I don't think these people add any value to the show. I think if you and Bill and Ray are on like a good run here and you're having a good conversation, I want to just hear you guys talk. I don't need to hear from Bobby in the Northeast. I don't even have anything against Bobby in the Northeast.
Yes,
I just don't think he knows what he's... I don't think he knows what he's talking.
You just don't think he knows. You don't even know Bobby in the Northeast.
Yeah, he may be a great guy. Maybe he's an upstanding, tax-paying citizen, but he doesn't know anything about
But you don't know that he doesn't know? Who are you to know more?
Well, we can give him one phone call, and I think he'll prove that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from him.
You're going to hear from me for almost 4 hours. The fact of the matter is, Kevin, are you interested in sports when you hear your buddies talk about a conversation, in a sports conversation, and you add something to the conversation? and you're hanging out in a bar and it's kicking and you got a good conversation going. That's what sports talk radio is. Now,
the bar is not sports talk radio. You're saying that you're as low as a bar. You're bringing yourself down to the level that you think Crossing Broad is.
No, I'm not. If it's stupid, I will say it's stupid. But they have a right to say their piece about it. You're saying they don't have a right to say their piece.
No, they can say their piece. They can just say it somewhere else because I want to hear from experts. It's like the analogy I used in the story the other day. If there's a radio show about hanging drywall, right, and then Mike Missanelli calls the hanging drywall radio show, I don't care what you have to say because you don't hang drywall and you don't know anything about drywall. I want to hear Bob Vila. That's who I want to hear talk about drywall. I don't want to hear you because I want experts on the topic. I want people who know what they're talking about. Bobby from the Northeast doesn't know what he's talking about.
You must not have listened the last couple of days. I was talking about my drywall expertise. You missed that.
Well, listen.
Ironically, I was talking about drywall. Go ahead.
Can I make a point here? I think that the most shameful thing that has ever happened in Philadelphia sports is a direct result of giving sports talk radio callers too much power. And you know what that is. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The shameful performance of the Dirty 30 at the NFL draft.
Oh, get over
it. That is what happens. No, that's what happens.
Right,
that's what happens when you give them a platform. Don't give these people a platform.
You write about things like the Dirty 30 all the time. You write little vignettes about idiots
to tell people how big of idiots they are. Yes, and then we leave it. That should have never happened. That's what happens when you give them too much power. It's your show. It's your show. It's not the caller show.
Throwing snowballs at Santa. You're still bringing up the Dirty 30? Get over the Dirty 30.
It's the Mike Missanelli show with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn. It's not the Bobby from the Northeast show. I don't care what Bobby has to say because he's not an expert. He doesn't add anything.
All right. The next time I go to Crossing Broad, I'll make sure that I'm getting Wall Street Journal content and it's only being broadcast to Harvard Business School people. You know, you got this attitude about yourself in this site that it's like ridiculous to me. It really is.
I don't think we.
Honest to God, like the people that patronize your site are erudite and intellectual. It's laughable.
Are you accusing Crossing Broad of taking ourselves too seriously? Because if that's the case, I think it's gone
seriously. Oh my God,
way over your head.
Look at your stories today, for crying out loud. Is there anything notable? Is there anything intriguing or interesting?
Phillies irreverent sports blog. Do you people go to Crossing Broad because they're looking for big J journalism, Mike? Come on, you know
what exactly
are
they?
What our brand
okay,
is.
But what exactly are they looking for when they go to your site, and what exactly are people looking for when they call this radio station?
They're looking to have a laugh and maybe learn something. That's what people go to Crossing Broad for. They don't go there because they're looking for like the New York Times to be out.
I haven't had a laugh.
They're not going there for a
long time.
Well, you know what's funny is this conversation has actually been much more enjoyable than the last time I called in because Tyrone and Natalie tried to kill me about like unpaid internships. You remember that whole thing?
Yeah, I do remember that. And you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself for unpaid internships. All right, listen man.
I tried to give you guys a compliment, so I stick to that.
Yeah,
I think that article was.
I know you tried, you failed. But thank you very much. All right, man.
All right, thanks, man.
We'll talk to you. There he goes.
I missed the whole internship thing. When was that? It was before, I guess?
Yeah. That's what
You've dealt with Mr. Kincade before?
We've dealt with many things that they've done. But I have to laugh at this. Like, they're so above, like, what they do. It's so above what we do. It's downright laughable with your site. Come on, man. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Andrew Salciunas.
If you could snap your fingers and put an end.
11:43. Mike Missanelli Show. Here's the thing that I will always do. Even if I don't disagree with a caller, even if I think a caller's an idiot, I respect the right for people to sound off on what they want to talk about.
You respect that they can sound off.
Absolutely. I always protect the caller. Now, it's the easy hanging fruit is to say, callers are idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. And I can say that. We can say that because we think we know more, and this is our business, and I get all that. But it doesn't make us cheapen the fact that we're supposed to be above them and they can't call and anything they say is irrelevant. I never have believed that. This is a unique sports environment, Philadelphia. And I've been all over the place, and I worked in New York. These people here live and die with the sports teams here. So if they live and die with the sports teams here, they obviously have strong opinions about what's going on. Who are we to say that your opinion is not valid?
Yeah, I mean, in this city more than other. I mean, look, New York's a similar city, Boston. Not saying they're better sports fans than us because I think we have the best sports fans. But we are very opinionated. And I think, like that caller who called earlier, Q, said, he started listening to us when he's in prison.
In the joint.
And people who on the YouTube chat have checked in saying, look, even when we move away, this allows us to feel connected to the city. We hear what's going on. We hear the fans and the pulse of the city on different topics. So I understand where you're coming from.
I have always been protective of Philly fans, and two of my most storied confrontations. And I didn't care what those people thought of me, and they were larger than me on the scale, Bayless and Wilbon. Both of them kind of denigrated Philadelphia sports fans. And I go, who in the F are you that denigrate Philadelphia? Do you live here every day? Do you live through the angst and the turmoil and the glee and the joy of Philadelphia sports? Where do you come off like lowering Philadelphia sports to barbarianism?
And I got to say, Kevin Kincade, he disappointed me a little when he went back to the Dirty 30.
Yeah, I mean,
because I agree. The Dirty 30 was terrible. I've said it before. But you can't bring that up now.
It's like saying somebody threw snowballs at Santa. It's similar. Come on.
Wait, what year are we talking about? When was McNabb drafted? In 99? Or was it even earlier than that? Yeah, 99. We're going back 26 years now.
Dirty 30. That means Philadelphia Sports Talk. Come on, man.
Ray wasn't even alive yet when the Dirty 30 happened.
Let's stop it.
Right, Ray?
All right. It was a radio shtick.
You weren't alive yet.
Now, some people do radio shtick. Some people don't. That particular morning show did shtick. We don't do shtick. We do conversation.
That was a terrible shtick, I agree. But to bring that up as the argument, that's where Kevin lost me a little bit.
All right. We have a caller on the line. What's his name, Ian?
Ian from West Philly.
Ian from West Philly checking in. What's up, Ian?
Hey, fellas. Mike, it's Ian from West Philly. I used to call in all the time. I call in a little bit because we're a little overloaded. I never talk about what I do, but I'm a delivery driver for in a big brown truck. Let's just put it that way, right? Mm-hmm. And here's the deal for what's the guy's name? Kevin?
Kevin, yeah.
Kevin who? So the thing with this guy, he doesn't realize. Let me just preface this. I went to Central, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to stay here. Like, I could have gone to college. You know what I mean? Blase. And let me tell you, sure, there's some knuckleheads on sports talk. But here's the deal, that the vast majority of people that listen to sports talk are people that work hard, physical, not just 9 to 5. I work basically 10 to 13 hours every single day, okay? And I'm a little hype about this. I'm usually calm when I call you, but the guy really got under my skin, okay? Listen up, Kev. Sports talk radio listeners, they can read. But guess what, bro? We don't have time to read. By the time I get home, I am tired as you know what. Bro, I don't have time to go on The Athletic. And guess what, Kev? I make enough money to buy 1,000 subscriptions, okay? But here's the deal. I know a lot of people in academics, in academia, in like high up in SEPTA, and all my buddies. I'm on my Bluetooth talking with them throughout my day. Guess what? When news breaks, they go right to their little computer and they go onto The Athletic and they read the full article while they're either working from home or they're doing it in their office. guess what, bro? We don't have time to do that because we're the blue-collar cats who are keeping this stuff going, delivering stuff to you every day. That stuff really got under my skin.
Listen, I appreciate it got under your skin because, like, part of the reason we do this is for people like you, the delivery people, the mail people, everybody who's out there, the construction people. I mean, that's one of the things that I love to touch on. You know, you're out there and you're working and you're listening and you're having fun listening to a sports conversation, just like at lunchtime when if you guys ever get together. What are you talking? You're talking about the game last night or something that happened in the game. It's the same thing. It's just amplified here.
It's a big thing for us, Mike, and Bill, Mike, the young Ray Deasy. Like, you guys, like, make my day better. I've been listening to you for a long time, Mike. I'm not going to sit here and say 30 years, blase, like some cats make up. But I've been listening to you for, like, 15, 20 years, okay?
Yeah.
And like, you know, you've been a great, sports talk has been a great thing in my life. You know, like, you helped me get through the day. Sports talk enriches my life, and it's a medium that I can digest because of my reality, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? So,
Ian, listen,
like,
man, I appreciate your call. You made a lot of sense. I thank you for the call. That was very heartfelt. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, it's really interesting that he brought up the drywall conversation because I just did some drywall. And he
didn't know when I read
knew that.
Well, I went and read the article, obviously, because it was about us.
Yeah.
And when he put that in there, I thought, was he listening?
No, he wasn't listening.
Because you gave a full description.
Ironically, I was doing drywall.
Yeah, with the pink drywall that dries.
And I can talk with expertise about damn drywall, Kevin. 610-632-0975 back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Baldwin this week with new contracts, but a little drama in Birds land here. CJ Gardner-Johnson fired off some tweets this week, voiced his displeasure with Darius Slay, not naming him as a potential leader for the team after Slay being released. These comments from Darius Slay coming from his Big Play podcast. Slay took his word, saying there's no problem on his end. A.J. Brown chimed in, saying the Eagles community is messy. Hopefully what isn't messy for this team is NFL free agency next week, which opens up with the legal tampering period on Monday at noon. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and 76ers lost last night. 76ers losing to the Celtics 123-105 without Tyrese Maxey, without Paul George. Jason Tatum scoring 35 points for Boston. The Sixers now 21-41, 20 games under 500. Flyers fell 4-1 to the Jets, and now all eyes turn to today's 3 o'clock NHL trade deadline. We'll keep you updated with anything that happens with regards to the Flyers ahead of that deadline. This update is brought to you by Batteries Plus. At Batteries Plus, you'll find dependable batteries for your car or truck, plus free battery testing and expert installation too. Power on with Batteries Plus, over 700 locations nationwide. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The news at noon. See what Ray has up his sleeve today. News at noon. Meanwhile, Sixers lose last night. Eagles free agency. Dallas Goedert no longer with the Eagles. That was a story I saw on Bleeding Green Nation.
Yeah, it's coming from Jeff McClain's podcast. Obviously, Jeff McClain from The Inquirer. He does the Uncovering the Birds podcast. And he said, I think we may even have the audio of what he said, but they played it this morning. He said an agent talked to him at the Combine who told him Dallas Goedert's not going to be on the Eagles this coming season. And when you look at the contract, you can understand why that could be the case. It's his final year of his deal. He's got no guaranteed money. The Eagles could free up $4 million this year, $18 million next year if they were to trade him post June 1st. And I can see why Goedert would want a new contract. Who wants to play on the final year of a deal? But what do they got if they do it, Mike? What's the alternative?
Well, they got Calcaterra,
which I think he's a fine number 2, but he's not your lead tight end.
You know, there's a pretty good tight ends in the first round. I mean, would they draft a tight end in the first round?
Well, that's the interesting thing. I mean, you always hear they drafted Dallas Goedert when Zach Ertz was actually 2 years younger than what Goedert is now. But when you did that, you had a little bit of a runway. You drafted Goedert, you kept Ertz for a couple of years, and then you finally moved on. If you move on from Goedert now, is there any tight end that would be ready that you would get? Are they really going to use the 32nd pick on a tight end?
I'll bet you that tight end that they would take at 32 could start in the league.
They got your boy from Penn State?
No, he's going to go top 10.
Yeah.
But there's this kid from Bowling Green who's a stud who might be there when they pick. There's a couple of tight ends out there. I saw like 4 first-round quality tight ends.
And as much as they need a tight end, and I know you always take best player available in the draft, I'd like to see them go elsewhere in the first round. If you're telling me the first-round draft pick, you have an opportunity to maybe get a solid edge rusher or a good defensive lineman or even a guy who could eventually start along that offensive line, I think you'd have to go there than on a tight end.
This. Could you get a starter quality offensive lineman at that pick? Starter quality defensive lineman at that pick?
It's
32?
possible. I mean, you got Nolan Smith there, right? They took Nolan Smith with the 31st pick, I believe, or was it 30th? I think there may have been someone lost their first-round pick that year, if I'm not mistaken. But you got Nolan Smith at the end of the draft there, so that's possible. You know, you could get a guy along the offensive line who maybe is raw because you don't need him this season that you could grow into a starter. I don't know, man. The tight end in the first round, when was the last time the Eagles did that?
Tight end in the first round?
Is it Keith Jackson?
Probably. That probably is.
I'm going to look that up.
Jackson. All right, you're listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station. We're broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Okay, it is coming up on 12 noon. Happy lunchtime, everybody. And at 12 noon, we do a little something we call the news at noon. Bang.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All righty, Ray Dunn. Grabbing 3 stories that suffice as our news at noon, where we either our eyeballs pop out or we have some snarky comments and we go, yeah, that was pretty cool. So let's start off with Barry Bonds coming into the news at noon, right?
Yeah. Felt good to see Ricky Boat walk in as I was about to do a Barry Bonds story. Felt really fitting for me to do a story of Barry Bonds following that. Barry Bonds went on, I believe it was All the Smoke podcast. They asked him, 100 miles per hour, you able to hit it? And at 60 years old, Barry Bonds, not lacking any confidence.
100? That's easy right now today. I don't care how hard you throw a baseball. They gone. There ain't no way you can throw a baseball 66, so I can't just do like this. If there's a catcher behind home plate that sits like this with a glove, and you throw 100 miles down, he just go like this, boom. All I did was change this object to a bat. Boom, boom. I ain't got to change nothing. I just changed the object. Right now. Now, if you're asking me to do something spectacular, that would take time for my body to get used to it at 60.
But just going up there.
But to go up there and hit it,
like
I don't care how hard you throw it.
Yeah.
As long as I can see it, I hit it.
All right. First of all, who does he think he is? Bill Colarulo?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I heard it.
Now, there's two, you got to put this in perspective. Now, if he just came off the street, got in the batter's box, he might be able to foul 100 miles an hour. He's not hitting 100 miles. Hitting 100 miles an hour is driving it somewhere. He's not going to be able to do that off the street. Now, if he took BP for a little bit and he got a little bit of timing down, he might be able to hit a line drive. He's not hitting that out at age 60. He's just not.
No, but he's probably making contact.
He's making. Depends on what the contact is. Like, if he's saying that he's going to hit a line drive off 100 miles an hour right out of the chute, I go, liar, liar, pants on fire. You're not doing that. Sorry. I knew you were the greatest hitter ever, but you're not stepping in the batter's box and you're not driving 100 miles an hour. You may hit a few foul balls before you actually drive one, but you're not going to add the chute to it.
But you are talking about one of the best hitters Major League Baseball's ever seen. I don't know.
He's 60 years old. You know what goes? Your hand-eye coordination, your ability to judge speed. And goes.
And his bat speed a little bit. Too,
well, of
right?
course. See, like when he pulled the trigger on 100 in his prime, that's different than pulling the trigger now. You're going to pull the trigger late, which means if you pull the trigger late on 100, you're not hitting it.
And you understood Ray's reference to seeing Ricky Bo.
How many times did Barry touch Ricky Bo?
Well, it wasn't that.
What?
Ricky Bo threw at Barry. Yeah, and Barry charged. Did Barry ever take Ricky yard?
Ricky will tell you that against guys like Barry, he was very good. It was the guys who were not that good that always found a way to get Ricky.
How could he be good against Barry?
Yeah.
What did he do? Did he strike him out?
He definitely threw at him, though.
Where has that bat? Can we track Barry Bonds at-bats against Ricky Bottalico? Can we track them?
All right. Head-to-head stats, Barry Bonds against every single pitcher. Let's find Bottalico. Against Ricky Bottalico, he had an 0.91 average.
Wow.
Whoa, okay, Ricky Bo.
231 on base and a 182 slugging percentage.
Oh, whoa. How many at-bats did he have against Ricky?
13 plate appearances, 11 at-bats, just one singular hit. That one hit was not a home run.
Where's Bottalico? I need to get him on the air about this. I want to know how he pitched him.
All right, we'll grab him.
Because this guy had such a supreme knowledge of the strike zone.
Yeah, just a double.
Yeah, I'll try to grab him.
That's all he got off of Ricky Bo.
I'm going to grab him.
After the news at noon, I'll try to grab him.
All right, next, Ray.
All right, next up, Jalen Hurts. Is he a little crazy? I mean, we know we all obviously have fun with some of the drops with him, and
that's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
But it's 40-6 in the Super Bowl, and he goes up to Nick Sirianni. This is the new mic'd up that came out with the Eagles, their last one of the 2024 season, and he did not want to come out of that Super Bowl.
Hey, it's probably a hold on. Are you sure? We're done? Yeah. Hey, yeah, sure. You sure? Love you, man. Love you too. Way to play, baby. Get that ball back, man. If I had Philly, I'd have let that ride. We up 40-something. I know, bro, but I mean, we killing. Huh? I'm saying no.
All right, so
just a lot going on there. I watched it last night.
Yeah, okay. So what's going on there?
So Nick Sirianni made the decision to take the starters out of the game.
Yeah.
And that's Jalen Hurts saying to him, like, are you sure? Are you sure? And then he goes over to, kind of complain about it to Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley, saying, if it was up to me, we're staying in this game. And Barkley's like, we're up by 30. And Devontae's like, what, do you want to kick them while they're down? Jalen still locked in, man. I want to have a longer conversation about this, but that was wild. Jalen wanted to embarrass the Chiefs.
Well, let's have a little conversation about it, because your guy doesn't like running up the score.
No, I think
you think that's taboo.
Well, I'm going to let Ray say it, because Ray said something to me pre-show, and I think he's spot on, Ray. Go ahead.
Jalen Hurts losing in the Super Bowl 2 years ago has changed him forever. He's got just PTSD from that game.
And what'd you call
up 10 at halftime has turned him into a new person.
Yeah, what did you call it, though?
What did I call it? I say a lot of things before the show.
You said this was Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yes, his Joker origin moment.
His Joker origin
moment.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty...
I think he's spot on.
Pretty erudite.
Because even Jalen mentioned it the night before the Super Bowl. That last one changed my soul. Remember he said that? That changed my soul.
Do. So he wanted to eat them alive. He wanted to bust them up.
Yes.
Big time. Well, he already busted them up, though.
And
the sane minds took over there.
You know what? The whole Joker comparison.
Pretty good.
Why so serious? All that, Ray.
Pretty good.
This works.
Thank you.
It's not bad.
All right, last one for you. We'll go into the world of movies, the Transformer movies, to be specific. I don't know if you guys saw this online, but a 49ers fan celebrating his 10th birthday down at Universal Studios wanted to take a picture in front of Megatron.
Oh, I saw this. This is great.
And Megatron might have ruined his birthday.
Double digits, huh? Good, happy birthday. Maybe you will grow to be a winner, unlike the 49ers. Yeah! Yeah, the Eagles got it done, but you didn't. Happy 10th birthday, young man.
Oh, well, all right, where
the 49ers got it done.
Yes. No, the Eagles got it
done. Your 49ers didn't.
Mike, you got to see the video. It's literally a robot. It's literally a transformer standing there, this big, robot, and you can come up and take pictures with him, and he can talk. And he takes a shot because the dad's wearing a 49ers shirt. It's a great video.
Who's the voice? What is it?
It's an animated. No, it's like a big animated interactive Megatron.
It's programmed to say something?
I'm sure there's someone in the back.
Yeah, there's probably someone in the back with a mic.
Oh, okay.
Like, you ever been to, what's the place down the shore to have the talking Christmas tree? You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking
Somebody
about.
knows. Smithville, I think.
Where is the...
Smithville. I've been to Smithville.
Smithville. They got the talking Christmas tree. You go up to it and it starts talking to you. There's somebody in the back with the mic. It's the same thing as Optimus Prime or Megatron, whoever that was.
I'm lost on all these terms. All right. That'll do it for the news at noon. But we have more sound, Ray, because on the other side, I want to play a couple of things. And one of them is Draymond Green, who's like, Draymond needs to get, I don't know, he needs to get smacked. I think he needs to take a beating, like somewhere along the line. He needs...
he should have backpedaled on what he said, and he didn't.
And this it's a larger conversation, because if anybody in the media would have done this, they would have been excoriated. But shows you that just these podcasts with these athletes, they can say anything they want and not be held accountable for anything. I'm just curious to know. On one hand, it's entertaining. On the other hand, I'm curious to know whether people think it's out of line. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Tyrone Johnson.
I don't understand the sentiment of
Yeah, get that disco ball going. Bang!
Oh, big breaking news, Mike.
I know. Flyer news. Let's get it out of the way before Mr. Bottalico has stepped into the studio. I got a lot to talk about, Ricky.
Yeah, not huge news, but the Philadelphia Flyers have traded Andrei Kuzmenko to the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for a 2027 third-round pick, and I believe they are retaining 50% of his salary. Kuzmenko's been here for about a minute. He came over from Calgary in the trade for Farabee and Frost.
Blockbuster. That's a blockbuster. Thanks for informing us.
Another small move. Hey,
yeah.
Keep patience, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Be patient. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio now. First time we've had him in the studio, but he likes to walk by and taunt Bill.
He does.
Every now and then.
Easy target.
He's the great Ricky Bottalico. Ricky, we got you in here because Barry Bonds made a statement, but we got to talk about more than that statement that he made.
Yeah.
So, first of all, he claims he can hit 100. Now, I put that in perspective. He might be able to foul tip 100. He's not driving, like off the street, he's not standing in there and hitting 100 and hitting a line drive somewhere, right? Am I right?
I don't think so. I mean, you got to understand, you stand in there and see 100 miles an hour, it's like out of the hand in the glove that quickly. You hear it more than you see it. I will tell you that.
Yeah,
much.
and you got to start the bat quicker. His twitch is not at age 60. Can't
60 years old. No way.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Maybe he's back on the stuff.
Did he ever go off it?
Who knows?
Well, apparently he wasn't on the stuff when you faced him.
He was on the stuff, but.
All right, so wait a minute.
Yeah.
What? 1 for 14 he was against you, and it was a double.
It was a bleeder over the third baseman's head.
Man.
That was the only hit. And it was the last, I think it was the last time I faced him.
How do you explain your mastery over one of the greatest hitters who ever lived?
I hated him. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the whole thing of the steroid issue, and he was the poster child, if you will, like in our eyes in Major League Baseball. And I felt like he was stealing money from everybody. So maybe I just had that extra pissed off mentality
When did you throw at him?
That was, wow. I don't remember the year, but I know I was injured. Like I literally came off.
It was 98.
I had literally just came off the disabled list back then, the injured list, and I had elbow surgery at the time. I came off the injured list, and I wasn't throwing hard at all. I was throwing like 86, 87 at the time. And I pitched 2 innings the night before because they're trying to expand me just to get me more innings. And in the paper that morning, I cannot pitch. Doctor's orders, I can't pitch for 3 days. That's how they were doing it.
Yeah.
And I ended up going in to throw at him. And I threw, I believe it was 94, 95 miles an hour. It was the hardest pitch I thrown in a month.
Hold on a second. They said they were going to shut you down, and they brought you in?
I was not shut down. I was playing, but I was under certain restrictions.
Okay.
And one of my, I had already served the 30 days. Let me put it this way. I had the same injury that Jake Arrieta had.
Yeah.
I was back in a month.
Okay.
Jake was done for a season.
Yeah, they used to rush you back.
Yeah, they kicked our asses a little bit.
All right, so you didn't like him, and you come in, and what was the situation? Do you remember?
He had stolen second base. He was trying for the big year where the 50-50 or something like that, whatever he was going for. And they were up like 9 or 10 runs an inning and a half before, and he stole second base.
Oh, wow.
I mean, what are you doing?
That's a punishment.
You know you're getting drilled. Although Jerry Spradlin, remember him?
Yeah,
hard-throwing, octopus-like guy.
Yeah.
He was supposed to do it because I was not supposed to pitch. And then all hell broke loose.
Wait,
there were 2 outs in the inning.
He
says, I'm not hitting him. And the whole bullpen was like, well, who's going to do that? I'm like, oh, here it comes.
Ricky Bo.
There's the phone call. I didn't have spikes. I didn't have a glove, nothing. Schilling came down on a golf cart and gave me my spikes and glove. I threw 1 pitch in the bullpen.
Do we have the audio of it?
Of course we have the audio.
We do have the audio.
Let's hear it.
Play the audio.
All right, thank you, Wills. There's Bottalico's numbers. A win, 2 losses, 3 saves, 3.86 ERA in 18 games. Facing Barry Bonds to lead it off. Get him. Now Bonds charging the mound, and Bottalico is ready for him, and both benches are emptying, and that's the result of a stolen base. And as a result of a stolen base, you could almost feel that coming. When I came over here, I asked Wheels, you going to hit him? And Wheels says, I don't know. And I didn't know for sure either, but, that was inevitable as the big gang at the mound now, and that was because of the stolen base.
All I can tell you is, Harry, when that stolen base occurred, I mentioned it's getting a little testy around here. So, no, I'm not surprised. And you hope
Bonds stole
somebody
the
gets hurt.
base with a score 9-2, and that really incensed the Phillies. Bottalico hit him with the first pitch he delivered, and anybody's going to come out of the bullpen and do that, it would be Ricky B.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thanks a lot. That's
that is
classic,
awesome, man. Harry Kellis making the call.
Worst part is I end up going hitting him. I'm thrown out of the game, obviously. Very next batter, JT Snow home run. Not only just add on to my ERA like I wanted.
Right, so wait a minute. So when he comes out to get you're prepared that he's going to.
I was
come
not.
And get you,
I was told to not throw a punch. If anything, try to tackle him. He had me by about 50 pounds. I mean, I hit him. It was like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah, this was juiced up, Barry. This
So
wasn't
was
Pittsburgh
big.
Pirates,
he
Barry.
comes to you. You got the first shot off.
There were no punches.
okay.
Actually,
You
as a matter of
charged
fact, the biggest injury I got was it was about 100 degrees that day, and I had a burn on the side of my
turf?
face from the turf.
Oh.
Well, you think about this: your face is on there, and then there's 50 people on top of you.
So two things. First of all, how did the rest of the team take Spradlin not wanting to hit him?
Nobody said anything to him.
Really?
Yeah, except for me. I said something to him.
Well, normally that would you'd look downward.
Well, I think they did, but I think they knew he was just that kind of person that he wasn't going to do anything to help anybody.
All right. Secondly, how did you pitch him? He had such a great knowledge of the strike zone, Barry Bonds. Like, what was your approach?
Honestly, a lot of fastballs in on his hands, as far in as I can go. And I was one of those guys that I didn't care if I hit him. If I hit you, who cares? You're going first. You're not hitting out of. And I had this thing where I'm never going to let this guy take me deep. That was the one thing I had against him, and I was like, and then it started getting like he was 0 for 9 against me, and he'd come up, and it was very odd. I mean, just certain situations, like when Francona was managing, we're out in San Francisco. I just had my suspension, and now I was fine at this point, and he puts me in the game in the 8th inning to face Bonds. That's how it kind of came down, and I ended up facing him about 14 times. He had one blooper over
that's
third.
pretty impressive.
So a lot of inside pitch. A lot of people didn't want to pitch him in. They thought you pitch him in and miss low, it's a home run. I thought 4-seam fastballs right at his hands.
Yeah. I always wanted to ask you this question because you pitched a lot of years in professional baseball and made your way back to the big leagues after going through the minor league route. How did you know that you were done?
My arm told me.
Your arm told you.
I went to spring training in 2006 with the
Brewers?
No, it was with the Orioles, believe it or not. And I remember I was about halfway through spring, and I was like, I don't think I have anything left. Like, I was still throwing 92, 93, but it wasn't the same anymore, and it hurt. Like, when I still have pain now. If I go and throw a day, 2 days in a row, my shoulder will be killing me.
So what was that like to make that decision? Oh, man, this is like now I have to live the rest of my life.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
I thought it would be great for the first while, which it was. I played golf that whole summer and enjoyed myself, and then I got bored. Ricky being bored is not a good thing. That is not a good thing, and it actually drove me up a wall. Probably hurt my relationship with my wife at the time at home, and it was just I spent a lot of time with my daughters, so that was great. I mean, I love spending time with my daughters when they were little, and it was just one of those things where I need something to do. And it turned out the next year Chuck Domino called me to do the Iron Pigs games. So I ended up doing 72 games down there. Next thing I know, I'm in Philadelphia doing pre- and post games.
Now you're a big TV star,
I
radio
don't know
star, the whole bit. But I always wondered, like, when you play baseball gets in your soul, and when you have to give it up, it's like, man. Well,
it's gut-wrenching. It
really
is. The day I got released by the Brewers in 2005, I kind of knew it was over, but I was like, I'm definitely giving it one more shot. I thought rehab the arm all winter, which is exactly what I did. Felt great for a while, and then it's not there. There's nothing there anymore. Yeah. And you got to understand, you play catch with a major leaguer, you know you're playing catch with a major leaguer. They got that something with jump on it. The ball jumps, and I knew my jump wasn't there anymore. So it was kind of like the beginning of the end for me, but it was sad. I mean, it's just one of the – I don't know if it's sad or –
it's inevitable, but it's hard to let it go.
It's depressing is what it was because it was like all right, I'm playing baseball every day. This is great, great, great. And then it just stops. There is no like plan for, all right, what are you going to do the first months after?
You're right. What is the plan for the rest of life when baseball is so encompassing that you don't have the plan?
I mean, if I didn't have my injuries, I don't know how long I could have played.
Yeah. Ricky Bottalico, man. Barry Bonds couldn't touch him.
No.
And here he is saying he can hit 100 miles an hour.
It's odd. There's a lot of like guys that are in the hall. Like A-Rod never hit me. Pujols never touched
Amazing,
me.
man. You should have a video stream of that. Like,
Just those guys.
Get your highlight reel.
The guys that
when somebody comes into your house.
And then there's Danny Bautista. No, not Danny. Jose
Bautista, Joey Bats.
The guy that used to stand funny. He used to stand like facing third base, and everything I threw him was hit out of the park.
But look,
didn't matter.
There's more pressing questions going on in the YouTube chat. All right, you've taken on these Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Could I hit you? They want to know if Bill Colarulo could hit a Ricky Bottalico pitch, because I think I could make contact on 100-mile-an-hour.
When I was going good, you couldn't touch me.
All right.
Are you talking now? I mean, for crying out loud, come on.
Right now,
I think I could make contact if I got 10 tries.
And I could throw any pitch I want, or do they have to be fastballs?
All fastballs. That's what we had said before.
You'll
all
follow
fastballs.
a couple off.
That's what I think. I think I would make contact knowing fastballs are coming. Now, if you hit me with
when I was throwing high 90s, you wouldn't have had a prayer.
How much could you throw right now? Have you clocked yourself right at
I'm probably mid 80s. I can get.
There's no way he hits mid 80s.
Probably not. I mean, it's a lot quicker than you think.
There's no way
even
you're hitting mid 80s.
But here's the thing. You see how he said he didn't mind throwing inside on Barry? He ain't throwing inside on me, because
Yes,
he knows
I
if
would.
I charge the mound, we're going to have some problems,
By the way,
Ricky
if I
Bo.
hit you, you're going to be hurting so bad that you're not
gonna
coming
collapse.
after anybody.
I'm going to collapse. I'm going to be out of commission for days.
It's just not going to be.
I would love to freaking see this.
We may have to make it happen.
Because I'm telling you, you're going to get air. You're going to go. You're going to go. How did I miss that?
I need a
did this
couple of
once
weeks
with
to
Casey
train.
Boy.
Did he hit you? Did he hit you?
After a while.
Got it.
But it was like, I mean, it was a lot of pitches I ended up throwing. I probably was done for 2 years, 3 years at that point.
We may need to make this happen this summer.
I want this so bad, because you're so disrespectful of baseball.
Listen.
You really are.
And by the way, I don't want to tell you something. One thing you said the other day was wrong. You said hockey players would make good baseball.
Good?
Oh,
well, they got good hand-eye coordination.
They have the worst swings you've ever seen.
They have bad swings because they're used to this.
They're used to going straight down.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, it's
so that won't help me. Look, I don't want to ruin the shtick by telling you how I truly feel. So let's say, I can hit you. I can hit you.
All right, that's if you want to think that, that's fine. That's fine.
Let's take a break.
We'll make it happen, Ricky Bo.
All right, we will.
Barry Bonds conqueror, Ricky Bottalico. We're back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Bond this week with new contracts, but a little bit of drama in Burns land. CJ Gardner-Johnson firing off some tweets over the last couple of days, voicing his displeasure with Darius Slay going on his podcast and not naming CJ GJ as potential leader for this team after Slay's departure. Slay took to Twitter to say there's no problem on his end, and A.J. Brown chimed in to say that this Eagles community is messy. Hopefully what isn't messy is the NFL free agency for the Eagles, which opens up next week. Monday begins the legal tampering period in the NFL starting at noon. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and 76ers lost last night. 76ers without Tyrese Maxey and Paul George lost 123-105 for the Celtics. Jason Tatum with 35 points for Boston. Loss drops the Sixers to 21-41, 20 games under 500. And the Flyers fell 4-1 to the Jets last night. And now all eyes turning towards today's 3 o'clock NHL trade deadline. Latest reports saying Andres Kuzmenko is headed to Los Angeles for a 2027 third-round pick. We'll continue to keep you updated if any more trades are made by the Flyers. This update's brought to you by Wendy's. Try a $3 Son of Baconair today. Big news, bacon lovers. Wendy's Son of Baconair is only $3 for a limited time. That's a whole lot of bacon for just $3. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
John Kincade.
12:32, Mike Missanelli show, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, before we had Ricky on, we talked about this Draymond Green situation. All right, let's set it up here. So, Karl Anthony Towns did not play against the Golden State Warriors the other night, and Draymond got on his podcast and gave what he thought was a reason why that Cat did not play against the Golden State Warriors. And here's what he said.
For us, and obviously they ain't had a Cat. You know, some would say he didn't play because Jimmy was in the building. I don't know.
It's like that.
You know, I'll tell you what. Though, I saw Cat Pops yesterday at the game, and it's always love. I got mad love for the OG. His Pops is an incredible man. But yeah, they said Cat ain't play because Jimmy came into town, and you know him and Jimmy had the infamous practice in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
And so
what? That's a conspiracy theory says he was hurt?
I don't know what was hurt. I didn't look that deep into it to figure out like what his injury was or nothing like that.
All right. So he said something there that is fairly irresponsible, saying that Karl Anthony Towns was ducking Jimmy Butler. He is right in that when Jimmy was with Minnesota, there was a blow up in practice where Jimmy said, "I'll take 4 scrubs and beat y'all's first team," and he did. He whipped their asses. Right. This was the last straw. Minnesota traded him to the 76ers. But in reality, Karl Anthony Towns missed the game because a friend of he and his wife had died of cancer, and she put out a tweet saying that I hate cancer, and it was like. Well, what? Does Karl Anthony Towns have cancer? They were referring to a friend of theirs that had recently died, and so he was too distraught to play the game, so he didn't play the game. So basically, Draymond put that out there. Now, last night, after the Golden State game, I have to give a reporter credit. He asked Draymond Green about this situation. Here's how that went.
Here's your reaction today to your comments about Cat.
No.
And are you aware of what the circumstances were?
No. No. What's the circumstance?
Apparently, he said he was at a funeral for a family friend.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. But my comments that I made was what I heard was this. That's what I heard. So I do, send my well wishes to him and his family. You know, none of us. It's inevitable. We all experience death in one way or another, and we'll all experience it in the same way one day. So it's unfortunate. You never wish that on anybody, but the Draymond Green show with Baron Davis must go on. So I definitely, wish him well. And
all right. So first of all, that makes my skin crawl. He says that the Draymond Green Baron Davis show can go on after, and then he says it's what I heard. Now, here's the thing about podcasts, and we use a lot of content from podcasts because people are unfiltered and they say stuff. When you just heard that, is that a violation or is that just podcast fodder? Because basically he said, yeah, at the end of the day, I don't care. The podcast has to go on. He had total. I know he expressed sympathy, but he also then doubled down by saying that podcast got to go on.
Yeah, I think it's a violation. I think if you're going to say something as bold as Karl Anthony Towns was ducking Jimmy Butler, and then you become aware that there was more to it and that a close family friend had passed away, I think you should apologize.
You should
not do what he did.
Exactly. He didn't apologize. Right. You feel the same way with that?
Oh, 100%. You got to apologize in that scenario. And the show must go on thing, I've heard it now, I guess, hold it, cleared up the audio, listen to it again to make sure it's cleared a third or fourth time. I've listened to it probably 6 or 7 times. The cringe factor that I feel when I hear that has not gone away.
It's totally
it hasn't been desensitized the number of times I've already listened to this.
In other words, I don't care if somebody died. I don't care what I said. Show got to go on.
Yeah, exactly. And he even throws in, but what I said was, that's what I heard.
What I heard.
So he's almost standing behind what he said. I don't know. I didn't like it at all.
Which is totally irresponsible. Now, if a reporter had done that and said, well, it was what I heard, what kind of hullabaloo do you think there would be against that reporter?
Oh, yeah, they would be.
They'd be killing that guy.
Yeah, people would
He would
be
get
out.
suspended. He might even get fired for something like that.
You're right.
Draymond Green says it. Life goes on. Nobody challenges him. None of his brethren in the NBA say a word about it.
You're right. If that's a reporter, they're at the very least going to probably be suspended for those comments.
Take a break. 610-632-0975. On the other side, Charles Barkley has something to say about. Well, he does not like Kendrick Perkins a little bit.
Should be fun next year.
Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Friday, March 7th.
12:42, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Have you noticed that Ray, that Bill is always late coming back to the studio? Have you noticed this?
Who?
I got Bill.
Who is he?
What is it with the antsy pants? Like, you always got to get out of the studio. And you know what he says? I got to get my steps in.
Now, you know what it is.
I don't like tardiness.
It's an ode to his favorite coach. Doesn't show up to the mic on time.
It's uncanny how he is late every single time when we come back from a break.
It is weird. Getting the steps in during the show is an odd phenomenon.
He's totally odd. He's not. Here we are. We're back with like a minute now, and
It's fine. Yeah.
He's still not back into the studio.
Time is money around here, as they say.
And he doesn't understand that kind of interrupts the continuity of the show.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at quarter hours here.
Here he is.
How do you get quarter hours
He's
without
coming back?
Bill
Now,
Colorado on the
we're
air?
going to settle this once and for all.
Wait, that wasn't me getting steps. I was recording a promo.
Well,
10 times worse.
How long did I miss?
It is worse.
We've been back for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is worse.
I was gone for literally 30 seconds.
It's the 1 o'clock hour already.
No, but you usually
take it out on Minaric,
No,
not
hold
me.
on, forget Minaric. Forget this.
Oh, so now you want to pass the blame to him? You should know how long these breaks
This
are.
isolated incident. This is an isolated incident. But normally, you come back late from the break all the time.
I do work on my steps.
Now, why is that?
Because I'm getting my steps.
Because you're getting your steps in, and you're coming in back and late for the show. Your steps are more important than you being on time for the show?
I don't believe I've been late once today, except for this.
I don't like tardiness.
You're always late to the show.
I usually just walk around the studio so I can see when we're coming back.
I take issue with you trying to pass this one off on Menard. That's really where I start to take issue with this. You tried to throw Matt Menard right under the bus.
It wasn't Menard.
And there is no Menard slander.
But hold on, I guess I'm forgetting how short the breaks are now, which is great for
Hold
listeners.
a second.
But
Hold it. The recording booth, literally, you walk out, 10 steps, you're in the recording booth. The spot you have to record is a minute.
That's why I don't know how I'm late.
At the most.
I don't know how I'm late because I went, recorded, came back.
No. Well, you must have dilly-dallied.
No dilly-dally.
You're a dilly-dallier. I got to be honest with you. You're a dilly-dallier.
There was zero dilly-dallying.
Allow me to give you a little insight. You know that read you just did? That read counts as a part of the break. So you now have lost a minute of your break. Lost is the wrong word because we love everyone.
No, but that's where I got thrown off. Is I did the read on FanDuel after you did the little promo about the station. So yeah,
there's a minute of your break that's been taken off.
So here's what I'm gonna do from now on. I'm gonna check with you if I am permitted to go in there or to go get coffee.
Now he's gonna be passive aggressive.
Now he's trying to push something onto me, and this isn't going to be about me.
Yeah, but see, here's the personal responsibility of this. He knows he did a minute ad. That means he has 2 minutes left. So you should, say, okay, can I record a spot within 2 minutes? Yes, you should be able to. So either you messed up the read and you had several takes, or you dilly-dallied. So what is it?
I messed up the read. I messed up the beginning of the read.
So it was take 2, take 3, take 4? Is that what it was?
It was only 2 takes. It just was a very quick break.
Come on. It was quick.
I had to also ask for clarification because the read that they wanted me to do was about FanDuel's doing this cool thing where you can get a profit boost token for upsets during the March tournament. And they want us to give our upsets. I'm like, we don't know what the games are yet. So how do I give an upset? So I needed clarification about what they wanted me to do.
Now you're asking questions. Yeah, it does take a while.
But Ray and I were having this conversation before you came into the studio on live radio. This idea that you have to get your steps in is more pertinent than you being on time to start the segment. That's what
I don't think that's a fair
conversation should be.
I don't think that's a fair description. I don't think I'm ever late for the return.
Forget that, actually, for a second. You know what really bothers me about this steps thing? While we're having this conversation, I'll air this out over the air.
Bring it, Ray.
You know, now that we have these corporate mandated, you and I have to spend time together because I hate
corporate mandated.
They make, when we are leaving this place, you love taking the stairs. What are the stairs really doing for you? I can't walk out of this building with you because I just want to take the elevator like a normal person. And you're just all about, you're going downhill. You're not working on anything.
Well, I take the steps up as well.
Okay, but when we're leaving, I don't walk in here with you.
It's all about the steps, man.
One day your life just be a sad sack of potatoes. Really? What is this obsession with you? You got to protein shakes and I got to get my steps in. Well, relax a little bit. You're a freaking adult with 7 kids.
I am not that obsessed with it. See, for me, it's if I'm going to leave here, instead of taking the elevator, why not just we're on the 4th floor.
You're going down.
So I get 4 flights of steps.
You're entitled to take an elevator. That's the point. They've given you that entitlement.
I always look now. Dude, I got a 7-week-old, all right? If I want to be able to have a catch with her, or be able to run, I got to make sure I stay in shape when she gets older.
Go on the IR? You're like in your 40s. Wait, relax. You're not my age. I've had 8 surgeries. I'm walking around. I'm not doing steps.
Maybe if you would have done steps, you wouldn't have needed these surgeries. You see, Ray? Case in point, the fence rests, Your Honor.
God.
I go for
Mike
runs,
never took
man.
the steps.
I don't need to take the steps with you. This is about you and I here.
I'm not really a runner, man. Are you doing Broad Street? Is that what you're training for?
I'm having a problem with my left knee. Ironically, I'm trying to figure out whether or not I'm be able to ramp up in time with my left knee.
You're a runner?
Mike, he was a cross-country guy.
It's the easiest thing in the world to tell that I was a runner. You take one look at me and you're like, yeah, that guy ran cross-country.
Yeah.
Did you ever do Broad Street, Mike?
Are you kidding me?
I did it
don't
once.
Run?
I did it one time.
I have to be involved in a sport to move, man. I can't be running.
I did Broad Street one time, and I said, I'll never do it again. It was fun, though.
This will be run number 3 for me on Broad Street.
It's too boring for me, man. I got to have action.
I'll tell you what. Running was always punishment in football, so I always hated running. But I will say the Broad Street run is one of the most fun things that I ever did because you start all the way up in North Philly, and everybody's out cheering you on as you start. Then you come past Temple and the Children's Hospital, and then when the time you get down to City Hall, everyone's there. Then you go past South Philly. Like, it is a lot of fun.
The first time I did it, I was 3 miles in, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is just not for me. And I'm coming up on Temple, and I was like, I can't quit.
Exactly.
Here.
But there's a lot of times you can't quit. Like, just when you start to think it, then you see these people cheering you on. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like a blast.
You want to do it as a show?
No, I'm not doing it. All right, so congratulations to my former colleaage.
Who's that?
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, my God. Congratulations is right.
Signed a contract, a 5-year contract for $100 million. He's making $20 million a year. I'm doing the knockout keyword.
Yeah.
How did I take a turn?
Well, you also get to work with me and Ray, but
which proves my point.
5 years, $100 million.
This is bad. This is very bad.
Yeah, it's not very
Mike,
bad.
talk about
Steven.
working with us.
But he didn't get to celebrate his $100 million very long because the king got in his face last night. Little LeBron James action.
What is that story now? What did LeBron do?
LeBron confronted Stephen A. Smith after the Lakers game last night. Stephen A. was sitting courtside. And if you're reading lips, it sounds like he says, keep my son out of your mouth or something along those lines, right? What was the what was thought of what LeBron said to Stephen A.? And I know Stephen A. addressed it today on First Take.
He's been critical of the whole Bronny thing.
So did he address it today on First Take? Maybe we can get that. Let's see. If I'm Stephen A. and I'm fresh off signing $100 million, I know LeBron's worth 100 times that, but I would go, yo, dude, I just made $100 million and throw him a couple dollars. Say, buy yourself some cigarettes. That's Sonny Corleone.
Yeah. Well, Stephen A., and maybe we could pull the audio. Apparently, what he said today is that was not LeBron James, the basketball player, confronting me. That was LeBron James, the father.
Okay. Well, then he understands it.
Yeah.
Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Bird's busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Baldwin this week with new contracts, but there's still a little bit of drama out there. Birds land CJ Gardner-Johnson fired off some tweets this week voicing his displeasure with Darius Slay, not naming CJ GJ as potential leader for this team on Slay's podcast this week. Slay took to Twitter to say there's no problem on his end. AJ Brown chimed in saying this Eagles community is messy. What we're hoping for is that nothing messy going this point forward, especially when it comes to NFL free agency opening up next week. Monday, the legal tampering period in the NFL opens at noon. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and 76ers lost last night. 76ers without Tyrese Maxey and Paul George lost 123-105 to the Celtics. Jason Tatum, 35 points for Boston. Sixers now 21 and 41, 20 games under 500. Flyers fell 4-1 to the Jets last night. All eyes turned to today's 3 o'clock NHL trade deadline for the Flyers. The report that Andrei Kuzmenko has been sent to LA for a 2027 third-round pick. We'll keep you updated with anything more from the Flyers as the trade deadline looms in just a few hours. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz, hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation.
Oh, 1256, Mike Missanelli. Text line is open. So is the phone lines if you want to get in. 610-632-0975. I talked about the merits of Sports Talk Radio, even though the merits were put down. Our callers, the great callers that I've had a chance to talk with over 30 years worth of Sports Talk Radio were categorized as dum-dums. And I go, Sports Talk Radio has always a place for people's opinion and phone calls. And so that's why I'm giving you the number.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of people weighing in on that. They agree with you. Most of the YouTube chat, most of the callers, most of the texters. A little bit more breaking news, Mike. I know you're on the edge of your seat here with the Flyers trade deadline.
It's a trade deadline today. Yeah, who'd they trade?
Well, we reported earlier they traded Kuzmenko to the Kings in exchange for a third-round pick.
Man.
Well, now it's being reported it looks like Scotty Lawton is heading to Toronto. We don't have the details of the trade, but there's a lot of buzz about it. So as soon as we get that confirmed, we'll let you know.
Finally, they trade Lawtz. They can't trade Lawtz, Bill. No. Say it ain't so, Bill.
Hey, 661 games in a Flyers uniform.
What a player.
Thanks for your service.
Lawtz.
Let's hope they got a first-round pick back. We'll see. We'll see. I'll keep you updated. I'll keep monitoring.
Lawtz is the typical somebody once said to me, the Flyers have a roster. They're all Lawtz. Every guy on their lines is a Lawton. Now they're starting to get some talent in there because they got Michkov, but they got rid of two guys. Like, here's what I don't understand, Bill, and maybe you can explain it to me. They're going through a youth movement, youth of talented players they're trying to assemble. Wasn't Frost and Farabee that ilk? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, with Morgan Frost, for whatever reason, I think a change of scenery maybe was necessary for him. I don't think Tortorella was a huge fan.
Oh, hold on a second now, because in other sports we blame the head coach for not bringing out the best in a talented young player. Like, who has that guy developed? How come you don't have the same opinion with Tortorella?
I do at times. And I was excited when Morgan Frost was first brought to Philadelphia in the draft, but you got to trust, man. I keep saying it.
Bill, you're not answering my question.
Look,
How come that other coaches for not developing young talent get criticized and this coach doesn't?
I think he gets criticized.
He does? There hasn't been a whimper from the Flyer fans about Morgan Frost and Farabee, two young, talented players who they peddled for this Kuzmenko, who they just traded for a third-round pick.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I've been critical of Tortorella. I did not like the way he handled the whole Sean Couturier situation last year. You just named the guy captain, and then you bench him, and according to Couturier, you didn't even know why he was being benched. I think Tortorella's made some missteps. I think the lack of Flyers fans calling for Tortorella's job, and there have been some who've been frustrated, is that you haven't had expectations. It's not like you've gone into these seasons expecting the Flyers to do things.
How long do you have no expectations? How long? This guy was supposed to mold a team. This guy was supposed to be the expert that could mold a team into being a winner. It's been 3 years of nothing.
It has been. See, you say 3 years of nothing. I can't get behind 3 years.
You are such a Flyer fan. It is amazing to me how tolerant you Flyer fans are of stuff that you would never be tolerant in other sports in this town.
Tortorella love.
Here we go. It's 1 o'clock.
I'm with
it's
you,
the Mike Missanelli Show. You're listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. We broadcast from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. All right. 1 o'clock hour, and the 12 o'clock hour, by the way, was brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when you purchase a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Let's start the 1 o'clock hour off with a phone call.
Oh!
We got David in Drexel Hill checking
Warren from Cherry Hill now.
Oh, what is it? It's Warren from Cherry Hill?
Yes.
All right, David's gone?
Bye, David.
Bye, David. Warren from Cherry Hill, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, buddy?
How are you, boys?
Good. How you doing, Warren?
Everything's good. I want to speak a little about the Sixers, which could be the biggest disgrace, more so than the Flyers. Other Flyers don't really count. I spoke to you a little bit ago about this, and I mentioned Embiid holding him hostage, and we had a discussion about that. I still feel the same. I don't understand something. He got hurt, couldn't do anything, goes to the Olympics, comes back, and they pretend that they planned this all along. And now when they shut him down, there's still no surgical date. Is he expecting the magic pill, or is it not him? I just really need to know at this point.
I don't know what's going to happen with whether there's going to be another surgery or not. He's the one that said that. Maybe they don't think that he needs surgery. Maybe they think he just needs longer rehab. It was an absolute disgrace the way they hoodwinked the fan base of this city. Absolute disgrace. And it started off in training camp.
Yeah. They said they expected this. Who are they kidding? He shouldn't have been in the Olympics, and I don't care how it works. Give me one reason that he's not. If it's me or you, maybe miss work, not. Any chance, I'll ask you, any chance if he doesn't have surgery, do you think he can ever be a full-time player, 55, 60 games?
No.
I don't.
No. I think we've seen the best of Joel Embiid.
They gave him an extension.
Listen.
They gave him an extension.
Yeah, they gave him the extension, which meant he held the organization hostage. They gave him the extension, crossing their fingers and hoping that something would magically happen. And that is a disgrace. When you run an organization like that, you are letting down your fan base.
Well, that's why I said back then, it's whether it's just on purpose or not, they're being held hostage. There's no chance of him playing unless he has a surgery. And that the money they got to give him is got to just the very next day. Mark my word, we'll laugh about it, but next season is going to start, and they're going to say he's going to be ready. We knew this all along.
You're absolutely right. You're going to get the same thing.
Worse than anything, how does GM have a job? How does he have a job?
Well, that's a good question. He certainly has not.
I want to shoot Paul George, too. I want him sitting. We won't even. They're going to play because they want that. They don't even know what to do. They don't even remember how to lose right. They're winning games they should.
No, they're not
just
winning.
The one in Golden
they're not
State.
winning. They're not winning games, bro. They're not winning games.
The other teams are.
They're not, Warren. They're not winning games. So and they have a chance to lose 18 out of the last 20. As I look at the schedule, they are now, I think, smart enough. I think they are smart enough to manage their way to losses. I hope to God this coach and that, like, how many members? 15-member coaching staff.
There was a lot. We looked at it before.
I hope all of them can now coach their way to losses without it making look obvious. They are absolutely bad enough to coach their way to losses in every game.
Yeah, and the caller's point, we said they're winning games they shouldn't. He's talking about that Golden State.
Well, okay, that's the one game.
Yeah, the Golden State game
was the outlier.
Now, he said something interesting, and you agreed with it. Next season. Because we still don't know what the plan is for Joel Embiid's knee and what treatment they're going to try to put in place to get him ready. There is a strong possibility he's not ready next year, too, isn't there? Especially if they end up going with some of the procedures that are being rumored.
I don't know what kind of procedures they're going to go with. He does raise an interesting point. Okay, what exactly is the problem and how do you fix it? Because if you knew what the problem was, they would have scheduled surgery. They would have done it now. I don't think they know what the problem is. I think that they don't know that surgery would fix it. I don't think they know if platelet-rich injections would fix it or whatever. If he goes to Germany and gets some procedure. You're going to have the same thing next year. If he's ready to, they're going to say he's ready to play, and then he's going to break down, and he's not going to play. And we are headed for at least a 3-year downward spiral for this franchise.
Oh, man. That's the life of the Paul George contract. I guess in 3 years, you got 1 year left on Joel's deal at that point, right? Because he would have the player option. So what are you thinking? You're thinking that when you talk about the 3-year downward spiral, the Embiid era is over, the Paul George thing's going to be a disaster, and we're going to be looking at potentially a team built around Maxey and McCain? I mean, what are we doing here?
That's the downward spiral because you can't build the team around Maxey.
No, and you're not going to be able to bring in another star during the life of the Embiid and George contract. I guess in 3 or 4 years you can go big whale hunting or big game hunting in free agency.
I challenge people right now to give me an optimistic view of the next couple of years for the Sixers. I challenge them, really. And this is where I want phone calls. I'm not the expert. I'm asking you to be the expert. I'm asking you to look into the future and tell me, with a broken down Joel Embiid that you can't trade, with a broken down Paul George that you can't trade, with 2 guards who are 6'2", I want you to tell me what you think the future is for this.
That's why I described it earlier in the week saying we're in purgatory. That's it.
It's worse than purgatory. It's a disaster.
But the reason that maybe it's hell. Because
it's
you
close
can't
to
make
hell.
any big moves.
If there's a way station between purgatory and hell, that's where they are. Now, as a Catholic, you're told there's no way station. It's just purgatory, and then it's hell. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Bottalico.
That's the Mike Missanelli Show. Here's how you get in, 610-632-0975. Go back to the text board in a second. The Phillies yesterday had a couple home runs, back-to-back. Kepler and Casti. They still lost the game. Have the Phillies won a game yet? Spring training. I guess it really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
But really, an interesting story. Brandon Marsh being aware of Max Kepler. So they met in Arizona to work with hitting coach Kevin Long. And Marsh says, "Gosh, you're a freaking unit. I can't wait to go to war with you." Plus or minus a few extra words in there. I'm a very loud guy, so maybe I started off too aggressive. I toned it down a little bit, but he's a homie. Brandon Marsh is a bro, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a unit. That I was reading.
He's a unit.
I was reading that Kevin Long thinks he found something with Max Kepler's swing, that he's been developing some bad habits since he had that big power season a few years ago.
Oh.
And that maybe you're going to see more power out of Max Kepler.
I'm glad he's found a little thing in his swing. He couldn't find anything in Rojas' swing.
Well, we heard before last season that Rojas had worked on his swing. I didn't really see it.
I saw it. Same long swing.
Yeah, same swing where he's swinging for the fences. Yeah, he is.
Hit home runs.
But we'll see. Look, this Max Kepler thing, I think it's an upgrade from Austin Hayes. It's just how much of an upgrade is it?
You're not feeling it. I don't think you're feeling it. A left-handed left fielder.
It just didn't make sense, Mike. It just did not make sense.
I hear you. You're all Austin Hayes tainted. Anybody they throw out there who's a retread you don't like.
Yeah, but look, if Max Kepler brings some power, he's going to have to hit well against left-handed pitching as well if he's going to be an everyday guy. We'll see. Look, I keep going back to I don't want to be negative about the Phillies because I'm very excited about what this starting rotation is going to look like, and I think you have good pitching, you can win a lot of games. So even if they have a little bit of a lack of power, a little bit of a lack of hitting in the outfield, maybe it's something you address at the deadline.
They got plenty of offensive talent, I think. I don't have a problem. Listen, there are a lot of people that are really high on the Phillies this year, and that's all well and good. They're not a terrible baseball team from 1 to 8, right, or 1 to 9. Their lineup looks pretty decent.
Well, look, our expectations are so high that it is sometimes easy to forget that they won 95 games last year. That they did go to the NLCS the year before, that they did go to the World Series the year before. But now our expectations are so high, as they should be, because it really is World Series or bust at this point, that I think we are very overcritical of the Phillies team. And when you really take a step back and look at it, arguably the best rotation in baseball. You put them up there with the Dodgers, right? And from 1 through 7, you're right. They got a lot of guys who can hit the baseball, have a lot of pop. It's the whole. It's you still have that PTSD from what you've seen 2 years in a row, where hitters just go cold at the worst possible moments. They chase everything outside the strike zone at the worst possible moments. But again, not trying to be negative.
No, I know. We'll get to the text board in a second. But first, I want to give you a little heads up on. I talked about it Wednesday, but on Sunday, I will be signing some copies of my children's book at a place called Just Between Friends. It's Just Between Friends, Eastern Main Line. They're an organization. They have pop-up sales with children's gear, sports gear, clothing gear, Phillies fan gear, strollers. A lot of people go there to get strollers that are a lot cheaper than what you're going to buy in a store. Toys, clothes, shoes, books, games. These are independent sellers that come together and for Just Between Friends, a pop-up sale. So I'm going to be there Sunday from 2 to 4, just hanging out with the people, and I'll be signing copies of my book. And a lot of the proceeds will go to the Just Between Friends people.
All right. What time is that again? 2 to 4.
2 to 4 at Haverford College, their athletic center at Haverford College. Oh, a little haughty campus there, Haverford College.
It is.
You ever been to Haverford College?
I know that it's very a little haughty-toity.
You do?
I've never actually been there. Ray, have you been there for any of your basketball broadcasts?
I think I've been there. I don't think I've done a broadcast from there.
They have a nice trail there, right? I know you're a runner. This is like a walking trail. It's really
Could it not be a running trail?
No, it could be a running trail, but I think it's a little more rustic. So running might not be,
It looks like we have some details on the Scott Lawton trade.
Uh-oh. What do you got?
It looks like Danny Briere was finally able to get that first-round draft pick. Now, I'm not seeing anything confirmed. I'm just seeing a lot of people talking about it, and they are taking down the Scott Lawton banner at the skate zone in Voorhees. So
no.
I went past the one at Wells Fargo yesterday. So
that is cruel, man.
Yeah, so we're seeing that. But it looks like
same day they take it down.
It looks like in exchange for Scotty Lawton, the Flyers are getting a first-round draft pick and a young player, Nikita Grabenkin, another Russian who's supposed to be good friends with Matvei Michkov. and I'm hearing he's quite a character as well. So we'll see how that plays out.
Here we go. 3 years from now, Bill Colarillo is going to have to take. They just made a team of Michkov's buddies for the Flyers, and they haven't gotten over the hump yet.
Bill goes, I'm hearing he's quite a character.
That's what I'm saying.
Who are you hearing?
On Twitter.
Who are you hearing that from?
I should say I'm reading. Say I'm reading. But that's what everyone's. There's a video circulating on Twitter. It's about 14 seconds of him talking to media, and he seems like he's a kind of a funny guy. But funny how?
You better stop this hockey talk.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
Well,
my nose grows every time you talk.
Interestingly, with the hockey talk, while you're signing autographs on Sunday afternoon, I'll be down at the Wells Fargo Center.
I'm sure you'll have
watching the Flyers hopefully knock off Josh Harris's New Jersey Devils.
The new look Flyers, by the way. What's the guy's name they got? The Russian, who's a good friend of Michkov's?
I don't even know if he'll play.
Oh no,
no.
Nikita, he's not a player.
Nikita Grabenkin will probably be down with the Phantoms, I would think.
Oh, really?
But who knows? Maybe
So they got
call
a
him up.
first-round pick for Scott Lawton. No, that would be a victory, wouldn't it?
No, it's a big victory.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's still time. Deadline's not till 3:00, so there's a couple other players that may get moved. But in Danny, we trust, Michael.
I know. You trust. Danny and Keith. Anybody who's ever put on the Flyer orange and black.
Now, Frank Saravelli's reporting it's a conditional 2026 first-round pick, so we got to see what the conditions are.
Saravelli's a member of my golf course.
Oh, is he? Any good?
Yeah, he's not a bad player.
He's a single digit, we think? I'm going to look up
I
his
don't think
stat.
he's single.
You guys talk hockey together?
No, we've never had a hockey conversation together. We've had we've been cordial, but we never actually hammered it out over a beer, right?
That's a shame.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? 610-632-0975. To the text board after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds busy tweeting. I'm Ray Dunn with this and this update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. Eagles took care of Saquon Barkley and Zach Bond this week with new contracts, but still a little bit of drama in Birds land. CJ Gardner-Johnson fired off some tweets this week, voicing his displeasure with Darius Slay not naming CJ GJ as a potential leader for this team on Slay's podcast, the Big Slay podcast. Slay took to Twitter and said there's no problem on his end. AJ Brown chimed in saying that the Eagles community is messy. Hopefully, what isn't messy is NFL free agency for the Eagles coming up next week. Legal tampering period opens up Monday at noon, and then free agency open for good on Wednesday. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, both the Flyers and 76ers lost last night. 76ers without Tyrese Maxey, Paul George lost 123-105 to the Celtics. Jason Tatum 35 points for Boston. Sixers now 21-41, 20 games under 500. Flyers fell 4-1 to the Jets, and now all eyes are turning to the NHL trade deadline later on today. A couple moves for the Flyers today. Andrei Kuzmenko to Los Angeles for a 2027 third-round pick. Scott Lawton making his way to Toronto, a conditional first-round pick, and Nikita Grabenkin coming back from Toronto. We'll keep you updated with everything going on with the Flyers. This update's brought to you by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. One expert tax prep. Jackson Hewitt will give you $100 to switch. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
a story about a pilot who noticed an attractive lady on the plane. And as he saw her, he wrote a note saying, "You are one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen." And as she was like, they exited the plane, and he exited the plane, and she was like, or had already arrived at the gate, and then he takes his stuff, and he passed her the note and kept going.
With his number on it or anything?
No, he just, "You are one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen," and gave her a note.
And that was it?
And that was it. Now, you know, you've been in that kind of situation where you've tried to court a lady, right? What would you have done? First of all, what's the note supposed to do?
So I was going to say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
So you take a shot.
So I could see it maybe taking a shot, but just giving her the note and walking away, you get nothing.
Well, here's what I think. I think he gave her the note, walked away, thinking that maybe if she was interested, she would follow him and say, "Hey, would you like to have a drink?" or something like that. Pilot's got some game, right? Normally.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're the pilot, would you, instead of giving her a note, say, "Hey, I happen to notice you on the plane. I think you're very attractive. I was very attracted to you. Would you like to have a cup of coffee?"
So the note actually said, "I have seen the whole world."
Oh, I have seen the whole world.
And you are the most beautiful woman in it.
Oh, well, there
Even
you go.
better.
That's even stronger. But then he walked away.
And he signed it with an unreadable signature. So she don't even know his name. This is a terrible game right here.
Is it bad game? Or is it like tease game? As if, wow, this pilot, he's a pilot. I respect that. He got the uniform on. I'm kind of attracted to it. Maybe I'll follow him. Maybe he walks with a slow gait. I don't know. Like,
oh, I'm looking at the note too. See, I don't like this.
Well,
I think he probably, why not just say to her, if you're going to shoot your shot, say this to her. Look, I've traveled the world. I'm a pilot. Right? That's a flex. I'm a pilot.
I'm Bill.
Yeah, I've traveled the world.
I play for Gettysburg. I drink protein shakes.
That's right. You're the most beautiful
I get
woman
my steps and I show up late for the show.
I've ever seen.
When it resumes.
Yeah, he could have said, there's a smoothie place at the other end of the airport.
Yeah, that would have been like.
If you want to grab protein
I think the
shakes.
guy is a little shy.
Or married.
Oh,
that's the other possibility.
You think he's
that's
married?
the other possibility here. He didn't want to be identified, maybe.
Well, then why would he even say it?
I don't know.
He's married. He's afraid to, hook up with the woman he thinks is attractive. Then why would he write the note in the first place? What do you think? What does he think's going to happen?
Now
I'm spreading goodwill. Like what
I want to throw out another possibility here.
Okay.
She is a social media quote unquote influencer. There's a possibility
The world needs more influencers.
Well, there's a possibility this entire story's made up. Because look what she just got. She posts this on social media. It goes viral. We're talking about it. It's on the New York Post. It's everywhere.
I think she wrote the note herself.
Maybe she did. Ray, what would you have done? You wouldn't have walked away.
Oh, I do this every Friday night.
Well, no, I thought you don't. I thought Friday nights are just for your buddies.
You meet people on Friday night. What?
Because Ray doesn't do dates on weekends.
You don't do dates on weekends.
Ray, hold on a second. When you're on this plane, I'm sure that you've encountered some attractive younger ladies as you're doing all these travels. So if before you get on the plane, you see somebody who's boarding the same plane, would you go up to them, or do you keep to yourself?
No, I walk past them. I drop a note. I say, "I'm a radio host. You're hotter than any take I've ever had." And then I walk right past.
You're joshing. You're joshing now. I've asked you a serious question. Are you the shy type, or would you approach somebody?
It depends the context. If you're telling me I'm about to get on a flight, no, probably not. I'm not a big airport court someone for.
Well, why not? You're going to the same place.
Am I sure of that?
Well, yes. You're going on a plane. You're going wherever your trip is. You're going on a plane. She gets off the same time as you.
Whoa.
It's a perfect meet-up situation.
I don't really like the travel courting. I don't know what it is about an airport. When I'm in an airport, I'm kind of in my own zone.
Well,
I don't really talk to people.
You probably should rethink that. I'm looking at this. Despite the unusual note, it's not uncommon for people to meet a partner while traveling. A 2018 study surveyed 2,150 people from 141 countries and found that 1 in 50 claim they met the one while on an airplane. So maybe you got to refocus yourself here. Maybe when you're traveling all over the country like you do broadcasting, you should be looking for the one, Ray. You know what? We need Mrs. Dunn on here because I know she's looking for you to meet the one. Maybe it needs to be done at the airport, Mrs. Dunn. I'm done with Ray, running around like this. It's time he settles down. You need grandchildren.
What are you doing here?
Come on now, Mrs. Dunn. You know you agree with me.
Yeah, he's going nutty.
The post-show phone call I'm going to get here? She doesn't disagree with you, which is ridiculous.
I know.
Were you ever attracted to somebody on an airplane, Bill?
I think that's a different question, though.
The flight attendant or anything?
I'm trying to think.
Shut up.
What, Bill?
Ray said he's going to shut up.
I'm going to shut up.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm trying to think if I ever have seen someone on an airplane. To be honest with you, I don't know if I ever have. Now, I've seen beautiful women in the airport, but, I've not gone up to them. So maybe I should have taken my own advice, but I'm happy. So I've already met the one. Ray's the one that needs this.
Look at you.
Look at you nearly stepping into it right there and stepping out of it.
I did step out of it quick.
In the past, I did.
You talk to women on the airplane?
No, I've been a flight attendant.
Ah.
Way back in the day. That's when I was working at the Inquirer. So that's eons ago. Well, she seemed attractive, and I, as I'm getting off the plane, I chat a little bit. Got a phone number. So then later, she made a stop in Philly. She called me. So I met her out on 13th Street, and we went to what was the place we went to? Lolita or something. Anyway, I had a cigar on me. This crazy woman takes out the cigar and tries to light it in the place.
In the place.
They threw us out.
Was that it? Was that the last date?
I walked. That's come on.
Was that
I didn't even finish the date. I said, "See you later."
So, I'm
see you later.
Jumping on the flight attendant thing here.
Oh, you got a flight attendant story?
I'm more concerned because I was once seeing a flight attendant as well, and I know that she works the airlines I'm on. And there's always a half second of panic with every flight that I get on. That I'm like,
really?
Is the flight attendant going to be? I don't know how that interaction goes. Did you ever have that concern post that flight attendant date that you would end up seeing the flight attendant on a flight that you were on?
No.
Never
I
once.
never did. And if I did, I would have given cross eyes. Like I would even welcome that. Like you're an idiot. Like something.
Yeah,
like that.
Concerned of having my Sprite spilled on me or something,
MBD has some pickup lines for Ray that maybe it'll be good. I like this one, Ray. I'm going to read you a good one. Ray walks up to a woman and says, "Hey, there's something wrong with your phone. It doesn't have my number in it."
It's true. I did graduate the 8th grade.
That's a good one right there. Somebody else has Mike's pickup lines. And it says, "Hey, you want a signed copy of Shima the Shiba?"
Now, you know why? I got to be honest with you. That might work. Because a lot of guys are very successful walking a dog, and they meet a woman walking a dog. And you get a little chit-chat over the dog talk.
The dog definitely helps.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
That's adorable, that book. That's adorable.
Yeah, that could probably work.
Yeah, well. Let's go to the phones. We got Joel from Norristown checking in. What's up, Joel?
Hey, fellas, great show. Thanks for taking my call.
How you doing, buddy?
Awesome hearing Harry Callis' call of Ricky.
How about that, huh?
I remember watching that game.
It's good work by Ray getting that.
Awesome stuff. I remember Barry crying after the game. Even the knee could end my career. I hear it clear as day, man. Too much. But I had a question for you guys, Phillies prospect-wise. I heard Bill saying about potentially upgrading the outfield around deadline time. A long way to go. See what happens. Only other obvious thought would be bullpen arm or two. I can't even run a fantasy baseball team, so it's easy to default to a guy like Dave Dombrowski who's taken 4 different teams to the World Series. But he's always been willing to trade prospects for talent, and it was far from the case last year. It feels like they really hold. I mean, Painter's not going anywhere, but they really hold Miller and Crawford in very high regard. It seems like. And Mike, you're the baseball guy. I haven't really seen Miller much. I mean, what do you make of him?
I think he's a keeper because he's got some pop, and when you have a power hitting infielder, he can play third base, or even shortstop. I don't know if he can play shortstop at this level, but they only have 3 prospects, So I can see where he doesn't want to give away. Like if they were stocked with prospects, they could afford to give away those top guys. But they somewhere along the line, they're going to have to replenish. And those two guys look like they're starters. They projected starters for a really long time in the big leagues. And I don't know about the pitcher.
Crawford,
The pitcher.
you feel good about Crawford?
Yeah, I'm talking about both the fielders, Crawford and Miller.
Yeah.
Now, a pitcher can always go bad. You never know. So, like, I would be more inclined to trade a pitcher than I would a regular player who could be, like, he could start for you for eight years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I saw a report with Vlad Jr. looking for $600 million. Is that even realistic?
No.
Would it make even any sense
For the Phillies?
to go that route? With Harper saying he would go back to the outfield and make room for a
No, they don't.
impactful first baseman?
They're up against it now. They don't have that kind of money now. They're trying to get they're pared down. They can't justify another contract like that.
I wasn't sure if he was still on.
No.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's also some tough decisions they're going to have to make with guys in the final years of their deal too.
Yeah,
like are you going to bring
listen,
back Schwarber? Are you going to extend Remuto? What about Ranger?
Miller is like to me. There's only one position that he's going to be able to play for the franchise. He's not unless you're thinking you could somehow move Trey Turner to the outfield later in his career, and that kid will be your shortstop. But I just don't see a kid who's a power hitter who I think is going to get a little bigger. Even I don't see him as a shortstop. I see him more as a corner infielder who could really pick it and have some pop.
So you think he's going to be third?
I think he's going to be a third baseman, which means that they'll eventually move on from Bohm. But Bohm's a nice trading piece.
Or if Bryson Stott's more like the guy you saw last season and not 2 years ago, maybe you're moving Trey to second and Ada Miller slides in as your shortstop.
That's a possibility, but see, Stott's the number one draft pick. They're going to bail on him. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
The Philadelphia 76.
140, Mike Missanelli Show. Don't forget about the Fanatic Knockout Tournament. It's Wednesday, March 26th. Today's keyword is on our contest page. You got to enter it. 975thefanatic.com. The keyword is foul, F-O-U-L. You have till the end of the day to enter it. Each winner gets a pair of tickets for that game that night versus the Wizards. And after the game, you'll head to the Sixers court for knockout. Bill Colorillo predicting a victory in knockout.
I'm coming to win.
Everything. He's going to hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He's going to win at knockout. He's going to score a goal tonight if the Flyers activate him. Oh, they don't play tonight. It's trading deadline. Were you traded? No.
I was not. The Fly Guys are in action both days this weekend. There's a game tomorrow.
Against who?
Against the Seattle Kraken.
Oh, Kraken are tough.
And then Sunday against the Devils. Tomorrow's a big day at the Wells Fargo Center.
You were offering me Devils tickets?
No, they don't stink. They're in the playoffs.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Now, tomorrow's game.
2 teams. Josh Harris has 2 teams in the playoffs. And the most important team, Ugats.
Yeah. Now, they're third in the Metro right now, the Devils. Tomorrow's game at the Wells Fargo Center is Marvel Day. So, I don't know what that's going to be like, but they're giving away Marvel T-shirts.
Invite me to tomorrow.
So, I actually have tickets for tomorrow, and I unloaded them because
Oh, you did?
We have family coming over to meet the baby.
Oh, you got to meet the baby, right?
Got to meet the baby.
Meet the baby. Got to meet the baby.
You got to meet the baby. Is that a Seinfeld?
It's a Seinfeld thing.
I know I think people out there, like anyone who's had a baby knows what I'm talking about. Like family members think they're being rude if they don't come over, but in actuality, we don't want people to come over. You know what I mean?
I hope
like now we're okay.
People coming over aren't listening.
Well, no, I'm excited. I'm okay for them to come in tomorrow. But like now the baby's 7 weeks old. But like when the baby's first born, I'm like, oh yeah, we don't want to be rude. We want to come over. And it's like no. Like we're barely sleeping, man. Like we don't want company. Company.
So how do you divvy that up that time?
Like the whole feeding and then diaper changes and stuff like that.
The night stuff. You like who decides who sleeps and who gets up.
So my go-to is usually, you know who I have to deal with for 4 hours every day. I got to get sleep.
That means Ray.
I can't believe you talk about me like that.
Yeah, you talk about Ray that way.
Now, we try to do it. Like, my wife will go to bed early, like around like 8:30. So I'll take care of the baby until about 12, midnight, 12:30, and then she wakes up. That's kind of what we got going on.
All right.
It's funny that you say that you go to bed earlier because you have to deal with him for 4 hours. I actually stay out a whole hour later with the thought of coming in and have to deal with you, Bill.
You have a couple drinks.
Like, two more. You know who I have to deal with 4 hours tomorrow.
There's always a different layer to this arrangement of 3 here. Today we picked on Bill a little bit because he always comes back late when the segment starts. He's never seated when the segment actually starts. And we found out today because he does his steps.
Get my steps in.
It's his steps in. So at the detriment of the show, your steps get the priority.
What this all comes? This is all comes from the wife.
This is why we love you.
It all comes from the wife.
The wife.
I told you, she's a personal trainer. So her big thing is.
I didn't know that. Is she a personal trainer? You haven't mentioned that before.
Well, her big thing is steps. That's what she gets all of her clients to do. You start off with just steps. It's amazing. You increase your steps, you'll see progress.
Is she a client? Right. I mean, you a client of hers right now? That's what we're doing the show.
Not really. No.
Okay.
Not even at home. I can't.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you're not a client. This is a show.
Yeah, this is a show. But it is funny and ironic that the person who's being accused of being late for the start of the show is me. When, Ray, how many times has Michael been late coming back?
What?
Yeah. How many times have you had to just take control of the drop board?
Mine works in a very interesting way.
Because Mike's late.
No, I'm late less frequently than you.
I would actually disagree.
No.
I would disagree.
You would be wrong. Anyway.
You would be wrong.
There you go.
But that's okay.
All right, so the good news about the Sixers losing last night was another loss on the ledger. And I am trying to predict a 2-18 finish for your Sixers, which would make them 23-69, which I believe would put them in the bottom 6 of the league, and thereby they preserve their draft pick. Otherwise, they have to give it away to San Antonio Spurs. So I look at who they're fighting with. The Raptors have 20 wins. The Nets have 21, tied with the Sixers. So you got to look at the schedules of both the Raptors and the Nets. I see a lot of wins for the Nets. The Raptors scare me.
Yeah, the Raptors scare you.
The Nets are going to win some games. They're still playing hard. They have some talent on that team. They have young talent. and they're competitive. The Raptors and Sixers are not competitive at this point. So it's going to be a fight to the finish on who loses the most games. And so they played 2 in Toronto. The Sixers definitely have to tank those games to the Raptors.
Yeah, but the Raptors are going to be trying to do the same thing.
I know. It's going to be a tank versus tank.
It's going to be riveting basketball.
It really is.
All right, let's daydream for a second since it's Friday afternoon here. The Sixers go into the bottom 6, and then somehow the lottery balls fall their way. They get the number 1 overall pick. Cooper Flagg decides he's leaving Duke, and the Sixers draft Cooper Flagg. What does that do for them? Because isn't he? What you think he's going to be a guard in the NBA, right? He's a guard.
No.
You think he's going to switch to where that Paul George type?
He's a 3, and he can play 4 as well.
So now you got Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, hopefully a healthy Joel Embiid. We're daydreaming. A healthy Joel Embiid, Paul George, Cooper Flagg.
Cooper Flagg is 6'9".
Don't you think? I know he's huge.
Yeah.
Don't you think we've earned this?
You know what? Here would be the Sixers' luck. He decides to go back to
Yes,
Duke.
and they win. They get the number 1 overall pick, and Cooper Flagg decides he's going back to
He goes
Duke.
back to Duke. And who would they take? Because, I've heard a lot of things about this draft. I frankly don't think this draft is as good as they think it is. There's still a lot of young players that are very erratic. So Cooper Flagg is the most pro-ready right now. I don't think the others are.
But don't you think Sixers fans have been through enough that we deserve a lucky break like that? Wouldn't that be great? And then you know what you would see next year, Ray? I know you know because you're a season ticket holder and the Sixers sent it out. You'd see Cooper Flagg rocking the Allen Iverson black Sixers jersey from 01 because they're honoring the 25-year anniversary next season, apparently, Mike. And they said, you're going to love our Sixers jerseys next year.
25 years since they've been out of the second round.
Isn't that wild? And what did we get before that? After 1983, how many other trips did they have to the NBA Finals? Has there been any? Was it 0 after 83?
Nada.
So we've had 1 NBA Finals appearance in 41 years. I think we've deserved some lucky
They
breaks.
went to the NBA Finals in 2001.
That's 1.
Yeah.
In
you're
41
talking
years.
83.
I'm saying after
41.
83.
Where do you get 41?
I'm 41 years old, so I know that 1983 was 41 years ago.
Oh, you're talking about winning it or going to a final?
1 finals appearance. Have they been back since 83 other than 01?
Oh, no. I didn't hear you say other than 01.
Yeah, so I think it's only been 1 time in the last 41 years.
Of course they have it.
So with all the hell that we've been through as Sixers fans, the Andrew Bynums, the Ben Simmons, the Markelle Fultz, all of the terrible contracts, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, can the basketball gods throw us a bone? And can the lottery balls just fall our way to get the number 1 overall pick? And then maybe somehow fix Joel Embiid's knee?
Philadelphia.
Are we asking for too much?
No, I don't think we are. Philadelphia teams have lost out on the number 1 player in both basketball and football. Now, I know I wasn't born then. They lost out on O.J. Simpson.
Isn't that the whole reason they threw snowballs at Santa?
I don't know. I don't remember why they threw snowballs at Santa. I think
they wanted to lose that year, and they were having a miserable season, and that's part of the snowball at Santa event because they were winning that game after a dreadful season, and the fans were angry that they were winning, and then they brought out this ridiculous Santa Claus because the guy couldn't get there in time.
Well, it also happened in basketball. They missed out on Bill Walton.
Who'd they have instead?
I think they had the second pick both times. The football team took Leroy Keys. You got to check this. This is from memory. I think they took Leroy Keys after O.J. Simpson was selected, and the Sixers took Doug Collins, if I'm not mistaken, after they lost out on Bill Walton.
So you could even
is that correct?
Ray, look that up.
Marvin Barnes.
Oh, they took Marvin Barnes after Bill Walton?
Yes.
Oh, okay. When did they take Doug Collins? They took him number 1. When did they take Doug Collins? He was their first-round draft pick. But I thought it was when they passed on Bill Walton. Marvin Barnes would play for Providence. You want to hear a great Marvin Barnes story? Marvin Barnes wasn't the most intelligent guy. He also hit a teammate with a tire iron in college.
Oh, man.
Right? So they drafted him, and he wound up, he said this. The Sixers couldn't sign him. He said, I would rather work in a factory than sign for what they want to pay me, which was stupid because no factory worker would have made that kind of money anyway. He wound up playing for the St. Louis Spirits in the ABA. So there was a team airplane that was going from the East Coast to the Central Time, and so the time was an hour delay, and so it started Eastern Time, and it landed prior to Eastern Time that it started because of the hour time difference. He refused to get on the plane because he said, I ain't getting on no time machine. He literally thought that the plane was going backwards in time.
And he believed that? That wasn't just a joke?
No, it wasn't a joke. You can look that story up. It was in this book that I read called Loose Balls.
Loose Balls. Well, look, and to bring it full circle, since it's the NHL trade deadline, they also missed out on the number 1 overall pick in 2007.
Oh, they did? Who was that?
The Flyers had the worst record in the NHL that year. The lottery balls don't fall their way. They get the number 2 overall pick. They take James Van Riemsdyk. Not a bad player. But the Chicago Blackhawks that year.
Patrick Kane.
And then who scored the game-winning goal at the Wells Fargo Center against Michael Layton, that no one knew was in except Patrick Kane. It all comes full circle.
I was at
Cursed.
I was at that game. I was at goal line level.
So you knew it was in.
I knew it was in. It slipped in.
But Patrick Kane should have been a Flyer. Never should have happened.
I know. Oh, well.
Damn it. We just ruined our weekend.
What are you going to do? Listen, we had a really good discussion today about Sports Talk callers. I love them dearly. Don't let Crossing Swords change your mind on that. They are a lifeblood of this business. And when we get this phone system back up, percolating, we're really going to go hard for phone calls.
Every time you say percolate, I can't help but think of that song.
What song's that?
It's time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator. You know how to do that dance, Ray?
You've now ruined my weekend.
There
will be 2 more consumed tonight because of that.
My mother's coffee system. You remember when the old schools, they used to percolate?
My mother-in-law still uses a percolator.
Bloop, bloop. The water comes up in that little bubble ball.
Yeah, she still uses the percolator.
No
She
way.
prefers it. Yeah,
Your mother does?
My mother-in-law.
Oh, your mother?
She uses the percolator because she says she can make more coffee at a time and it stays hot for longer. Yeah. We have the percolator.
It's like coffee that gets cooked for like hours.
It does.
All right. I guess it's time to go.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Appreciate you both as always.
We do. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe out there. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for listening. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. And we'll be back at you Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.